Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order of the regular school board meeting, June 12, 2025. And let's see. We are going to start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Garcia, would you mind? Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Roll call.
Okay, we're going to get started with roll call. So we have, yes,
President Jocelyn Vargas.
here.
Vice President Sylvia Paz.
Here.
Jesus Gonzalez, trustee.
I'm here.
Thomas Tortes, trustee.
Here.
Trinidad Arredondo, trustee.
Present.
Valerie Garcia, clerk.
Present.
And Joey Acuna, trustee.
Moving on to 2.1, recognitions, recognition of Quantum Leap Financial Literacy Workshops.
Good evening, members of the board, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Esparza and Executive Cabinet. My name is Eddie Simino. I'm our MTSS Data Coach Coordinator, and I'm here with the distinct pleasure to honor our Quantum Leap instructors. This year, all 12th grade students at CV High School, Desert Mirage High School, West Shores High School, and La Familia High School undergo a series of workshops around financial literacy concepts hosted by our Quantum Leap program from Keller Williams. Each week, students had 1-hour workshops that spanned from December to the beginning of February. Within these workshops, topics included the science of success, maximizing potential, wealth, and the rules of money. So it's my honor and to welcome and recognize the leadership of our Quantum Leap instructors and to thank them for their work and dedication to our students. So we have Kelly Tweedy, Coach Roy Rosales, and Alan Sorrell that we're going to be honoring tonight.
I think we're supposed to clap.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Alan. And Kelly Tweedy. All right, thank you. And then did you guys want to have pictures up in the front for awards?
Maybe we could hear from them. I'd like to hear from them, please.
Yeah. You want to say a few words? Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to address the group here. It really meant a lot to be allowed to come into the school and do what we did over a course of about 13 weeks. Just the response that we got from the material that we presented to the students seemed very well received. We did have a survey that went out to everybody if you guys wanted to take a look at that. But I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Roy Rosales. He went to Coachella Valley Unified School District. Him and I became friends several years ago and just felt like there was a need for financial literacy and some life skills classes. So thank you so much for allowing us to do this.
No, we didn't get a chance to address them. No, I don't, man, but I'd like to thank you guys. Could you guys wait just a bit?
Okay. Do any of our board members have any comments? Trustee
President, yeah,
Gonzalez?
thank you for recognizing me. I just personally want to thank you guys for what you did. I think, I don't know if you could measure the impact, right, of what it means as a young child coming out of high school to understand financial literacy. And I think it was long overdue. I'm excited that our current superintendent found the value in it and actually sought you guys out to do this for our children. I hope that this is the beginning of something that we do every year. Kids will go to school. It happens to, I think, all of us. We don't understand a balance of our borrowing capacity with what we actually utilize. We'll start there. You get into college, and those that are even in school, they'll get the credit card. You're a college student, and all of a sudden, you get a $500 limit, and you're spending all of it, and you're not getting another card. And so the fact that the children can understand this and understand what it is to buy a house, be a business owner, buy a mortgage, the difference between buying a mortgage and buying a piece of property, these are all things that are going to make a big difference in how our children grow. And I think if there really is an American promise, it's going to be predicated on how we and how our children participate in the economic opportunities of this country. So I want to thank you for the work that you've done, and let's grow the program. I've been an advocate that this should be mandatory for our students, that they pass a financial literacy class, maybe as sophomores, like we used to do driver's ed, but definitely before they graduate, they should have passed and understand what financial literacy means, especially in this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We're hoping that the program continues to grow, Dr. Esparza, and thank you.
Any other board members? No? Just thank you so much for your support of our students. Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, recognition of 2025 Agri-Art winners.
Vargas, Board of Trustees and Executive Cabinet. I'm actually going to call up community member George Tudor. He is the president of Growing Coachella Valley that sponsors this event, and he's also the owner and CEO of Tudor Ranch. Sorry.
No problem. Good evening, board. Thank you for having us here today. So yeah, as Marie mentioned, I'm the president of Growing Coachella Valley. We're an organization in the valley that advocates and supports the agricultural community. We're a group of agricultural members, but also various businesses here in the East Valley. And this is our third year supporting a contest that we call an Agri-Art contest. And what we do is we put it out to kids from elementary through high school in both Desert Sands and CV High. And we choose a theme. And this year's theme was the Circle of Life, Coachella Valley Agriculture, the Circle of Life. And we had, in CV High, we had 14 classrooms participate and about 100 entries between elementary, middle, and high school. So we have a first, second, third place and honorable mention for middle and high school, and a first, second, third place and honorable mention for elementary. So we have certificates and a small financial check here for the first, second, and third for middle and high school, and a certificate for honorable mention, and the same for elementary. So I will name the winners, and forgive me if I butcher the name a little bit, I apologize. Your name's a little bit, but I do want to mention that the artwork was really fantastic. These kids do great work, and it's something pretty neat for us to be a part of, truthfully. And there's also a grand prize winner that gets their art on a billboard on 86 here. I think last year it was between Avenue 50 and 52 heading north. So I don't think it's up yet this year, and I'm not sure which billboard it'll be, but it's up there for a month, which is actually really cool too. So to begin with, I will start with the honorable mention for the elementary school is Regina Osiguera Ceja. And she has, Marie was kind enough to frame the artwork for all the kids. Third place for the elementary schools was Ivana Prado. Second place for the elementary is Arlette Mariscal. And, pardon me, I should be mentioning the schools as well, forgive me. Regina goes to Sal Martinez, fifth grader at Sal Martinez. Ivana is a fourth grader at Peter Pendleton. Arlette is a third grader at Westside Elementary. And and first place is Giselle Munoz, a fifth grader from Sal Martinez.
Can we have them turn around so we can see the drawings? Super cool.
A couple of our winners won last.
Thank you, ladies. It's beautiful.
Okay, stay up here because we're going to do a picture at the end. We're going to do the high school.
Okay, now the next group is for the middle and high school at CV Unified. So we have honorable mention from the 8th grade at Cahuilla Desert Academy, Elda Abigail Mariscal. Third place goes to Vanessa Rodriguez Macias, 12th grade at Desert Mirage. We have second place goes to Jesus Aspuro, 6th grader at Peter Pendleton. I don't believe. Oh. Okay, and first place goes to Sitlali Derveda Felix, 6th grader from Saul Martinez.
So she's not here this evening, but we'll make sure that she gets her award. And
Either of these.
yeah, and I'll show everyone.
Super cool. So how much money did the kids get to buy us lunch?
Forgive me, I don't know the amounts off the top of my head.
That's awesome.
I think.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me either.
Yeah, I don't have it
Yeah.
written down.
Okay. But the checks are inside there?
Yeah, the checks and certificate, in each envelope, there's a certificate. The honorable mention has a certificate, and the other envelopes have a certificate and checks for all of you kids. And thank you again, board, for allowing us to do this and honor these children this way.
Yeah, thank you. We'll take a picture.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to closed session public comments. Read this. Closed session, 3.1 closed session. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board regarding any closed session items within the board's subject matter jurisdiction. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it to our recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. I have 3 closed sessions. Do you have more? Okay. I have 2. So first, closed session, public comment, Carissa Carrera. Thank you. And there's 3 items, 3.6 or 3.7, also 3.9. I'm not sure, do you want to, okay, thank you.
There we go. Good evening, Carissa Carrera on behalf of CVTA. Tonight on the agenda, you have the LCAP, next year's budget, several costly items, including a contract renewal for Gary Soto's services. I am here to question your motives and your priorities. The LCAP you will approve tonight was written without any actual input from the few people on the LCAP advisory committee who are not Ed Services employees. It was written before the surveys for parents and staff even closed. We were given a 3 to 4 hour period to review it this week, but if you weren't available, that didn't matter. There was no actual collaboration. The budget you will approve tonight was created without any input from the superintendent's budget committee because meetings were never even held. You are at impasse with CSCA. You were at impasse with CVTA. You have and are continuing to cut hundreds of jobs of people who work directly with students. You have cut staffing so drastically that nearly half the students in CVUSD will be in combo classes next year. Allegedly, all of these cuts are being made because RCOE and its representative AJ have said it must be done. Nothing can be done without their approval, right? That means that RCOE disapproves spending money to staff our libraries, but approves a $235,000 contract for Gary Soto. That means that RCOE disapproves spending money on safety supervisors to ensure the safety of our students, but they approve having several administrators on leave all year long, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to stay home because a board member or the superintendent doesn't like them. I could go on, but the majority of you do not care about this, and the remainder will remain silent. Your priority is not students. Your priority is not student learning. Your actual priority appears to be using RCOE's oversight as a shield to make the cuts you want, hire the people you want, and spend the money where you want. RCOE should be ashamed of themselves for claiming to oversee spending while allowing such drastic cuts to be made which negatively impact the education of our students, and for allowing such frivolous spending elsewhere. Each one of you sitting up there should be ashamed of yourselves because you are either directly involved or you are complacent. The students of CVUSD deserve so much better than this leadership we have now. It is truly appalling and shameful. Thank you.
Thank you. Next closed session, public comment. We have Alan Carvalho, general comment about forensic audit. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Alan Carvalho, and before anyone tries to play the race card, I'll say it up front, I'm Latino. Next week, the California Joint Legislative Audit Committee will decide whether to authorize an audit of CVUSD finances. Some voices online argue that another audit isn't needed because FCMAT already completed one in March of this year. But they're wrong. That particular audit was a system review, not a forensic financial audit. And what CVUSD needs now is a forensic audit that digs deeper. FCMAT's findings were alarming. The district is now at the highest risk level for financial insolvency. There are so many reasons for this, but let's look at one example of alarm. According to the report, CVUSD passed a $41 million bond in 2012. The law requires an independent citizens oversight committee to monitor how these funds are used, but the report states that the current committee does not meet the legal requirements under Education Code 15282. There is only a facilities committee that includes district employees and trustees, not independent community members. That's not oversight. That's insiders overseeing themselves. Now, Trustee Gonzalez, since you serve on that same facilities committee, is it true that Desert Concepts Construction has been awarded a significant number of CVUSD contracts and that in return have donated significant sums to your election campaign? Is it true that your nephew's wife, Cristabel Castro Gonzalez, works in CVUSD's Fiscal Services Department, processing payments and preparing financial reports? And is it true that before joining CVUSD, Cristabel was an officer at Desert Concepts Construction? For the sake of transparency, accountability, and our students' future, I strongly urge that the JLAC to approve a full forensic financial audit of CVUSD. I know this board has nothing to hide. So what's the problem about asking for a full forensic audit, period? Let's clear your names. People have doubts. Let's put their doubts away. Let's give the public the confidence in the leadership of this board right now. Do it. It's in the best interest of the community. It's in the best interest of you. It's in the best interest of the students. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, do we have Mr. Next item, I think, do we have other public comment for closed session? Okay. All right, we're gonna go, board members, please. Please. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And we'll be back at 8? We'll be back at 8? 8:30. Thank you. Do you have a motion to return to open session? Second?
Second.
And, okay. 4.2, we have announcements for action items taken in closed session.
Okay, bear with me, we had quite a bit going on. Okay, the board took the following action in closed session. Approved expulsion case number 23-24-010 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Board Member Tortes, seconded by Board Member Gonzalez. Motion carried unanimously. Next, board approved expulsion case number 24/25-007 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Board Member Arredondo, seconded by Board Member Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. Next one, the board approved expulsion case number 24/25-008 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Board Member Arredondo, seconded by Board Member Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. Approved expulsion case number 24/25-019 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Board Member Arredondo, seconded by Board Member Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. The board took action during closed session under item 3.4. The board voted to approve on June 12th, 2025, a 10-day settlement offer, settlement agreement, and general release resolving a matter for parents OAH case number 2025031070 on the 12th day of June 2025. Motion was made by trustee Arredondo, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Motion carried 7-0. I have quite a bit more. The board took action during closed session to appoint Socorro Sanchez as Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services effective on the 12th day of June 2025. Motion was made by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Tortes. Motion carried 7-0.
Start date, effective July 1st. I'm so sorry.
Okay. July 1st, okay. The board took action during closed session to appoint Amelia Nino as Director of Risk Management and Benefits effective July 1st, 2025. Voted on the 12th day of June 2025. Motion was made by trustee Arredondo, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Motion carried 7-0. The board took action during closed session to appoint Dr. Michael Williams as principal of La Familia Continuation High School effective July 1st, 2025, and was voted on the 12th day of June 2025. Motion was made by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. The board took action during closed session to appoint Leticia Torres as Director of Facilities Development and Planning, effective July 1st, 2025. On this day, the 12th of June, 2025, motion was made by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Arredondo, and motion carried 7-0. The board took action during closed session to appoint Aaron Wilson as Director of Special Education effective July 1st, 2025 on the 12th of June, 2025. Motion was made by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. In closed session, the board took action to terminate the services of classified employee 2025/11/684. Termination of employment is effective on July 1st, June 13th of 2025. The board directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call vote was as follows. It was a unanimous 7 for yes, and the vote passed with trustee Gonzalez making the motion, trustee Arredondo seconding. The board took action during closed session to approve the settlement agreement regarding minor Doe versus CVUSD. Stephen Moraga, incident dated January 29, 2020, in the amount of $100,000, effective on the 12th day of June 2025. Motion was made by trustee Arredondo, seconded by trustee Tortes. Motion carried 7-0. And that completes everything.
Okay. Item 4.3, approval of agenda submitted. We do have a correction on 1412. The funding source is Title I.
No, it's from Title I to the educational effectiveness.
Thank you. 1412.
Yes, 14.12.
Do you have a motion? A motion. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Oh. So that was a motion to approve the agenda? Yes, with the correction. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Moving on to 5.1, board notification requests to address the board. We have quite a few. Public comments, open session, introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes for each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. We do have quite a few, so I'm going to call to the podium the two speakers that are going to be speaking. So first speaker, we have Alicia Valladolid on library, and then the next speaker, they could be ready, Ana Santamaria. Okay. So you have 3 minutes. Ms. Valladolid. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you an update on the library.
Thank you.
As an IMA, the material for language arts and math has not arrived. I'm expecting 4 to 5 pallets. I have 11 days. The 30th of this month, library is closed. I saw an email, focus on your job. I always focus and move on to something else. But as right now, we have 4 or 5 pallets coming to me. In the past, I've been coming and telling you exactly what happens to us. That's why we became at 12 months. There's always something that we need to be there. I understand about the money, but you didn't consider us our duties, or whoever came out with a 10-5. If you gave the secretaries 11 months and 8 hours, why not us? I have a lot of work. Yes, I'm gonna stop on the 30th and go home. I don't know if I'm coming back or not. Who's gonna do that material? And I've been, in the past, bringing it to you. This happens every year. In the past, when we were 11 months, they were called in. But the material and the invoices and so on. That's why we became the 12 months. The cost of a book, textbook, is $60. If somebody walks in and takes it, 30 books, $1,800. You could say workbooks, they could take workbooks, because I've been there for many years. If they remove 100 workbooks at $10 a piece, that's $1,000. You got the money to replace it? Do you have money for us? Please consider. I have never seen nobody from the district coming over to see my job. Okay. It's not, I understand it's not the budget, it's the money issue. You have money, you're spending it. Are you spending on the kids? No. You will have a lot of complaints from the teachers because we don't have the material for them, especially the workbooks. And I've been here for many years explaining this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Ana Santamaria on item 1412. And the next speaker after that, Sandra Ramirez.
Good evening, members of the board and executive cabinet. My name is Ana Santamaria, and I'm the principal at Cahuilla Desert Academy. Continuing the contract with Gary D. Soto Consulting is essential to sustaining and deepening our instructional improvement across our district. Through his leadership, coaching, and direct support services to principals like myself, Gary reinforces our district's instructional framework, providing us with the tools and strategies we need to drive high-quality instruction and improve student outcomes. In the district leadership academies, Gary's focus on building collective efficacy among our site-based teams has strengthened our leadership capacity at the school sites and fostered a unified vision for instructional excellence. A powerful example of this work is seen in the instructional walkthroughs Gary's conducted with principals. where we engage in focused observations and provide actionable feedback aligned to the framework. These learning walks model effective leadership practices and build a shared understanding of high-quality teaching, making his continued partnership critical for our ongoing success. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Sandra Ramirez on Centros de Bienestar. And then the speaker after that, we have Yvette Ibarra. Yes, thank you.
Buenas tardes, superintendente y miembros de la mesa directiva. Gracias por esta oportunidad de poder hablar y expresarme. Quiero expresar mi preocupación por los recortes que se están dando en el distrito, presupuestarios presentados para el próximo año, especialmente en áreas que afectan directamente la salud mental y el bienestar de los estudiantes. Programas como los centros de bienestar, donde se están recortando personal que ahí trabajan, y el hecho de que también se esté recortando o se esté bajando el contrato con el Latino Commission, que son los que proveen los terapeutas para nuestros estudiantes. Eso es lo que a mí me da mucha preocupación, porque tener esos centros de bienestar con el personal adecuado es algo fundamental para que nuestros estudiantes sientan que tienen un lugar donde poder ir a expresarse y donde pueden buscar recursos, y simplemente el hecho de tener un lugar que es para ellos creo que ya da mucha seguridad para ellos. La justicia restaurativa solo funciona si los estudiantes tienen acceso al apoyo, y el centro de bienestar es una manera que se les puede dar ese apoyo. Y ese apoyo es de una manera no solamente mental, sino socioemocional. Recortar esos servicios se retrocede a la no equidad. Les pido que prioricen la salud mental y el bienestar como una inversión, no como un gasto extra, porque nuestros estudiantes se merecen eso, y más ahorita que estamos viviendo con esta zozobra de las redadas migratorias, que aunque no todos los estudiantes están en esa situación de riesgo, pero tan solo por estar viviéndolo tan cerca, eso provoca un tipo de estrés, porque todos los niños tienen un familiar, un amiguito, un compañero que puede caer en las redadas. Entonces, más ahora que nunca, yo sé que acabamos de pasar de una pandemia y tantas cosas, pero ahora que se está suscitando esto es cuando los estudiantes necesitan tener más un lugar donde ellos puedan ir a expresarse, buscar esos recursos y encontrar esos recursos. El apoyo estudiantil no es opcional. El trabajo restaurativo debe continuar. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Next speaker, we have Yvette Ibarra on Justicia Restaurativa, and the speaker after that, Guadalupe López.
Buenas tardes, superintendente, doctora Esparza y miembros de la mesa directiva. Mi nombre es Yvette Ibarra, mi hijo asiste a la escuela de CDA y estoy para agradecer porque se ha hecho un gran avance teniendo los espacios como los centros de bienestar, pero quiero expresar mi preocupación por el hecho de que se está haciendo recortes de personal, entre ellos personales que trabajan en los centros de bienestar. Es preocupante, para mí es preocupante lo de la salud emocional de los estudiantes, así que me gustaría que se cree o busque recursos para esa área, ya que también se ha reducido del contrato con Latino Commission. Gracias y pasen bonita tarde.
Muchas gracias. The next speaker, Guadalupe López, and on Centros de Bienestar, and then the next speaker after that, Olivia Rodríguez.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Guadalupe López. Primero agradecer este espacio y la oportunidad de hablar aquí el día de hoy. Pertenezco a Coachella Valley Parents y igual estoy preocupada por los recortes de los centros de bienestar y la salud mental de los estudiantes y maestros también. Me preocupa el recorte de terapias para los estudiantes por Latino Commission y me gustaría que se implementara la justicia restaurativa en todos los planteles escolares. Ahora mismo es importante ya que los estudiantes están pasando por situaciones estresantes, por la situación migratoria, mayoritariamente aquí en este valle donde nuestra comunidad es tan golpeada por esa situación. Muchas gracias por atender.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Rodriguez, and I'm here representing Youth Leadership Institute and as part of Alianza's Education Justice Campaign. First, I want to thank the district for continuing to prioritize student wellness. I know the budget situation is tough, and it means a lot to see that these spaces, which so many students rely on, will remain open. That said, we are really concerned about the cuts to behavior techs and Latino Commission's contract. These supports are essential, not just for our students, but also for building a stronger, more restorative school climate across the district. We've seen the difference that they can make, and it's hard to imagine continuing without additional staff support, especially during today's political climate. We need to ensure all of our students feel cared for. As a community partners, YLI is committed to continuing work with CVUSD. As always, we're open to working together to ensure our schools receive the funding they deserve and that all students continue to have access to meaningful support. Thank you for your time. I also want to mention one of our partners couldn't be here but left me his public comment. I want to begin by acknowledging the tremendous work and dedication of Student Support Service Team. Their use of data to guide site administration and their openness to collaboration has positioned them to take even greater strides in the years to come. Their leadership has laid a strong foundation for lasting, meaningful change. It is not lost upon us, however, that after many years of advocacy and school district investment for the training and RJ practices, the focus on implementation has been weak. The cuts the board is making will have a district impact in the wellness centers, one of the places where RJ practices were introduced. We need the school board to not lose focus on these practices. They are essential to student wellness and school climate for the members of this collaborative and the communities we represent. The central priority is ensuring that RJ is effectively implemented in all CVUSD classrooms and fully embedded in discipline policies. Student well-being cannot be an afterthought. The district must provide clarity and a firm commitment to sustaining and expanding these supports even amid staffing changes. This comment is from Brandon Ulloa, Education Justice Campaign Manager at Alianza Coachella Valley. Thank you.
The next speaker, we have Edward Simino and Cindy Bradley on the preliminary CAS data, and after that, we do have Principal Elizabeth Sotelo.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Esparza and Executive Cabinet. My name is Eddie Simino, MTSS Data Coach Coordinator. I'm joined with my fellow Data Coach Coordinator, Mrs. Cindy Bradley. We're going to speak a little bit about some of our preliminary CAS scores that have come in for our state data. So our CAS window for state testing ran from March to June this year. And we already have some preliminary scores that we've started to receive already, which we started getting those trickling in about mid-May, which is actually the earliest that we've ever received those scores. So the preliminary scores mean that not all the scores are in, but it starts to give us kind of a good measure of where we're at. We currently have about 92, actually close to 93% of our scores being reported currently. So just some of the highlights as I share some of this preliminary data. And by no means is this an exhaustive list. All of our sites have done amazing this year. And some things to kind of just note with that is proficiency is a score of 3 or 4. And so overall CVUSD, where we're at so far, our math scores have increased by 5% proficiency, ELA scores by 3% proficiency, again, that's district overall. Our 6th grade scores district-wide, we're seeing an increase of 9% in math, 6% in ELA across all 6th grade students. Some specific school site highlights, and again, this is not an exhaustive list, I don't want to leave anyone out. But specifically, John Kelly, 5th grade math has increased 21% in their proficiency. Mountain Vista 4th grade math has increased by 17% in their proficiency. Desamraj and CV, both of their ELA teams and students have 48% and 41% respectively, so both closing in on that 50% proficiency rate. And Peter Pendleton, 3rd, 5th, and 6th grade in both ELA and math are above 50% proficiency. So we're looking forward to continue to receive those scores. We'll continue to analyze as those come in, but I want to pass over to Cindy to kind of show how some of the work we've been doing is kind of resulting with those scores.
Perfect. Tying our professional development focus of the instructional framework has been a key driver in the early increases that we're seeing across our student performance. By prioritizing extensive training on the gradual release of responsibility model, we've created a consistent, high-impact instructional approach across our classrooms. Our 35 exceptional instructional coaches have delivered over 700 demonstration lessons on gradual release and supported over 35% of all of the staff members through the achievement-focused coaching cycle. In a tandem with our dedicated site administrators and our district administrators, we have reinforced this work by conducting daily walkthroughs and given and offering on-the-spot actionable feedback to help focus our teachers on providing the first best instruction to accelerate this student growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Elizabeth Sotelo on instructional framework, and after that, we have Eva Tafoya.
Good night, President Vargas, board members, superintendent, Dr. Esparza, and community members. I'm Elizabeth Sotelo, proud principal of Desert Mirage High School. I want to express my strong support for our district's instructional framework and professional development teachers and staff receive with the guidance of Mr. Gary Soto, particularly its emphasis on graduate release and student academic discourse strategies. These are not just theory or passing trends. We are seeing real, measurable impact at our site. These strategies are research-based, and what is exciting is that they're exactly what new teachers are learning as they complete their credential programs. It is encouraging to see our district ahead of the curve, implementing strategies that are aligned with current educational research and practice. We are not reacting anymore. We're leading at CVUSD. This has led to improvements in both classroom performance and assessment outcomes. Our DM students are achieving at higher levels, and there is data that supports this. And you just heard the data for Desert Mirage High School. What I value most about this framework is the coherence and focus it brings. It's a K-12 effort, and as a high school principal, I find great relief and pride that knowing that we're now aligned, K through 12. This clarity of focus, grounded in proven strategies, not just what people think works, it's actually research-based, is exactly what our students, families, and educators deserve. I want to thank you for your commitment to supporting what works, for investing in the vision, and for providing the professional learning that continues to support our success. So thank you for your support with our instructional framework with Gary Soto. It really has impacted my site, and as a principal, I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you. Next speaker, Eva Tafoya on instructional framework, and speaker after that, Dante Ramirez.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Eva Tafoya, and I serve as an instructional coach at Desert Mirage High School. I'm here to share my experience with our district's framework and our new strategies we've implemented this year. Thanks to our superintendent, Dr. Esparza, Ed Services leadership team, and Gary Soto's guidance, we now have a clear framework built around the gradual release of responsibility model and teacher clarity, especially through the use of learning intentions and success criteria. These practices are not just ideas, they're making a real difference. I've seen firsthand how this work translates into the classrooms. One ELA teacher on my site told me that after watching a demo lesson that I led, using learning intention and success criteria, she began doing it herself and saw immediate results. She was extremely happy. Students, best of all, are most engaged. I've had several already tell me directly that they have a clear learning intention, that having a clear learning intention helps them stay active in class. One student said, I like that my teacher uses success criteria and goes around checking things off that we've met because it shows how much, it shows her when I need help, even if I haven't told her yet. Our district is moving in one direction with this framework, and our instructional design is strengthening because of it. We have momentum, clarity, and shared commitment. Now is the time to keep building on it, and I thank you for your support.
Thank you. Next speaker, Dante Ramirez on CVUSD and RJ, and the speaker after that is Manuela Ramirez.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dante Ramirez, and I am here for the Community Justice Campaign for Alianza and Coachella Valley parents. For a little context, I'm a proud graduate of Coachella Valley High School and currently going into my second year at Cal State San Bernardino's Palm Desert campus, where I serve as an orientation leader and student mentor. I'm also majoring in social work because I want to help young people feel seen and supported the way I wish I had felt more often when I was in high school. I'm here tonight not only as someone who came up through this district, but also as the son of Sandra Ramirez, a lead for Coachella Valley Parents, an organization that's been advocating for restorative justice in our school for years. I've seen firsthand the time, energy, and love my mom and the group of parents and organizations working alongside her have poured into this mission. What started as volunteering has grown into a movement that's reaching more and more families. But restorative justice isn't just their mission. It's something I believe in deeply because I experienced what it's like to go without it. When I was a student in this district, I often felt silenced, ashamed, and trapped. I didn't feel like I had a safe place to open up about what I was really going through. Mental health wasn't a conversation we were encouraged to have, and when problems came up, the default response was usually punishment, not support, not understanding. Since moving on to college, things have changed for me. I've come out of my shell, I feel more confident, more outspoken, and more connected to who I am. But I constantly think about the students still here in the district, students who are still waiting for that same freedom, safety, and belonging. I know this district has made some important progress. Wellness centers, restorative practices, and even reduced suspension rates are a step in the right direction. Both the recent cuts to behavioral techs and reductions in contracts with organizations like the Latino Commission, which I personally feel and have benefited from, and have seen how much it helps greatly, I worry that we're moving backwards. These were the very supports that helped build the progress we've seen. So I want to ask, what's the plan to continue restorative justice without these vital resources? How will the district prioritize student well-being if we take away the tools that help make students feel safe and supported in the first place? That's why I'm urging you, especially in your LCAP and budget decisions, to fund programs that give students real, consistent outlets, support restorative circles, mental health initiatives, and peer-led spaces where students are heard, not just disciplined or dismissed. Restorative justice isn't just a policy, it's a shift in culture. And if CVP and other voices from the community are included at the table, I believe we can create schools that not only educate, but truly support and empower every student. Thank you for your time, and I truly hope you choose to invest in what our student and families need most. Student well-being is not an option. Thank you again.
Next speaker, we have Manuela Ramirez, and then the next speaker after that is Beatriz Felix.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Manuela Ramírez, soy parte de la campaña de justicia comunitaria con Alianza Coachella Valley y Líderes Campesinas. Solo quiero dejar saber que como comunidad estamos pasando tiempos difíciles, que piensen por favor en los padres de familia y en los miembros de la comunidad cuando hagamos estas reuniones comunitarias. No me parece justo hacerlos esperar tanto tiempo, creo que estaría mejor poner estas reuniones después de sus grupos o antes. Gracias.
Beatriz Felix on budget cutting, restorative work and immigration, and then Miguel Navarro.
Good night. My name is Beatriz Felix. I work with Líderes Campesinas, and I am part of the Educational Justice Campaign. I am from Mecca, and I have students attending Saul Martinez, Toro Canyon, and Desert Mirage High School. And one of my concerns is how students are going to be coping with the immigration status that is going on right now after the cutting funds from the restorative work and wellness centers in schools. Students can learn while they're thinking, what's going to happen to their loved ones or people that they know with the immigration situations. And then they need, now is when they need the most helping with easing, those situations with them by incorporating the restorative justice properly in schools. I would like to know how this is going to be managed in every site. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Miguel Navarro on 7.1 LCAP, and the speaker after that, Carmina Campos. Okay, Carmina Campos on 14.12 contract renewal, Gary Soto. And the speaker after that, when she comes up, Aben Magaña.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Carmina Campos, and I'm the proud principal of Valley View Elementary School. As a new principal at the school, Mr. Gary Soto has been instrumental in providing feedback, guidance, and support. Not only has he provided support to myself as an administrator and my administration team, but also to our instructional coaches and in support of leading the work, especially when it comes to our Coachella Valley Unified School District instructional framework. in which includes teacher clarity, our learning intention and success criteria to ensure our students know what the focus is, and holding not only our staff accountable, but also our students, and the gradual release model. And then also all the professional development that we have been administering throughout the school year. It's professional development that is research-based and strategies that have the largest effect size. In addition, our students are seeing the impact in their learning. He has also provided guidance with our District Leadership Academy teams, in which we come as administrators and future teacher leaders in building capacity. In addition, with the science of reading and corrective reading. At my school site, we piloted corrective reading. We had 100%, which is an intervention, a tier 3 intervention. And we are seeing the growth when it comes to data with our Lexile, our Quantile, and then in addition with our upper grade phonics inventory tests. I believe that we should continue. Continue with Dr. Soto's contract, so we can continue to move CVUSD forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, Avon Magana on 14.12. And the speaker after that, Elisa Gentry.
Good evening, President Vargas, Vice President Paz, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Esparza, as well as Executive Cabinet. I'm Ava Magana, Principal of Seaview Elementary. Prior to coming to Seaview, I was at Desert Mirage High School. When I first started at the high school, there were twin brothers who I will never forget. They had family hardships with the death of their mother and sickness of their father. They took care of their parents and they fell behind academically and started ditching class all day because they didn't understand, because they were so far behind. We did not have enough support in place within our academic framework at the time to aid these brothers, and both did not graduate despite all efforts by staff. Our new MTSS framework that is designed intentionally with support and coaching for principals and teachers is a key reason I wanted to become a principal. I thought, yes, now we have a consistent framework that can be used from kindergarten through 12th grade that will catch students at every level. It has provided principals and teachers clarity and bonded us together with a common goal, creating collective efficacy, a belief that we can move the needle at all sites. It's hard work, but anything worthy is not easy. I ask that you please keep all components of this framework in place so that it can be used as it's designed, with proper support for all, with coaching for directors, principals, and teachers alike, in order to keep the growth and momentum that we are seeing this year. We are seeing growth. I am certain if the full design of the framework is kept, including coaching at all levels, that we will see less and less students like the two boys I mentioned prior. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Elisa Gentry on the contract renewal, and then the following speaker is Mr. Michael Boomer.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Esparza, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Elisa Gentry, and I'm proud to serve as the principal of Sal Martinez Elementary and future principal of our newest school, North Shore Elementary. I want to take a moment to thank district leadership and commend the work we've done this year in partnership with Gary DeSoto around the CVUSD instructional framework. In my 6 years as principal, this is the first time we've received sustained, focused professional development on how to give meaningful feedback to our staff, build our collective efficacy as a school team, and grow as instructional leaders. At our school, we've been intentional in setting goals for ourselves and our students, prioritizing our instructional time and participating in the coaching cycle with our instructional coaches to align our practices with student needs. This work is already showing results. At Sal Martinez, our preliminary LPAC scores indicate that we have nearly doubled the number of students reaching a proficiency level of 4 this year, and scores are still coming in. We're missing some grade levels, so I know the scores will just continue to go up. That kind of progress This kind of progress does not happen by accident. It comes from purposeful, collaborative work grounded in strong instruction, leadership, and support. So I thank you for continuing to invest in our growth as educators. Our students are better for it. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Michael Boomer, 1412, and then the following speaker, Principal Ignacio Ramirez.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Esparza, Executive Cabinet. My name is Michael Boomer, the proud principal at Coral Mountain Academy. Tonight, I'd like to take a moment to highlight the outstanding work Gary Soto has been doing at Coral Mountain Academy this year. Over the past year, Mr. Soto has been a driving force behind our school's successful implementation of the CVUSD instructional framework. His leadership has brought clarity, consistency, and purpose to our instructional practices. Mr. Soto has worked diligently with administration to strengthen the school-wide lesson structure, ensuring that every lesson has clear learning intentions, purposeful tasks, and aligned assessments. His guidance has helped teachers design instruction that is not only rigorous, but also accessible and engaging for all learners. Instructional engagement has significantly increased under his leadership. Teachers are incorporating more student-centered strategies, higher level questioning, and opportunities for academic discourse, practices that are directly aligned with our district and site priorities. Mr. Soto's work has also supported CMA's goals by aligning instruction to data-driven site priorities such as improving reading and math proficiency and closing achievement gaps. His ability to align daily instruction with our broader vision has had a measurable impact on student outcomes. Gary Soto's dedication, professionalism, and instructional expertise have made a lasting difference at Coral Mountain Academy, and we are truly grateful for his contributions and excited about the direction we are heading. So hopefully we can continue with his support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our last speaker, Ignacio Ramirez on 1412.
So good evening, Board President Vargas, trustees, Dr. Esparza, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Ignacio Ramirez, and I am the proud principal of Cesar Chavez Elementary School. I want to highlight the work our teachers, instructional coaches, and district leadership engaged in this year in the implementation of our instructional framework. Every teacher, instructional coach, and administrator received professional development in teacher clarity and graduate release through explicit direct instruction. I'll save you what those mean, as some of my colleagues have already mentioned that. But it was heartwarming this year to see that framework being implemented in our classrooms. Not only at our school at Cesar Chavez, but at schools across the district as we visited multiple campuses to see the work being done. The implementation of this professional development, very ambitious, by the way. I really have not been a part of it, anything even close to it in 27 years as an educator. This was in no small part, this was the work of Mr. Gary Soto. His training and work with site leadership teams has ensured that we work together and stay focused to improve our students' literacy, numeracy, and the quality of instruction. I ask that we continue the work that was done this year and ensure continuity in the support being provided to our teachers, our instructional coaches, and site leadership teams, so that our instructional framework gets implemented, and it is already showing promising results in the classroom through instruction and in student outcomes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was the last public comment. We're going to move on to 6.1, written communication. Mr. Angulo.
Yes, we have 4. First one, Ricardo Gonzalez. The SRA Corrective Reading Program Level A was an incredible asset for my 5th and 6th grade students. Over the course of the program, I saw firsthand the remarkable growth in their reading abilities. The structured approach of the program allowed students to build confidence and fluency while also addressing gaps in their foundational skills. I saw students who had struggled with reading gain the skills they needed to not only succeed academically, but also develop a love for reading. The program's engaging activities and clear instructions helped students stay motivated, and the consistent reinforcement led to significant improvements in both reading, speech, and comprehension. Many students who were previously reading below grade level showed noticeable improvement. Overall, the SRA Corrective Reading Program Level A played a key role in transforming my student literacy skills, and I am incredibly grateful for the progress they made. It truly empowered them to become more confident and capable readers. Next comment, Jose Paz. Good evening, honorable CVUSD board members. I am writing this message to support our district CVUSD dual language program and Getty Soto teaching focus initiative. I am second grade dual language Spanish-English teacher at Westside Elementary. My students have benefited from the dual language program where they learn to read and write in both languages. Also, my students have benefited from the teaching focus initiative spearheaded by Mr. Gary Soto. Please support our dual language program and Gary Soto to continue working with our students. Thank you, Jose Paz. Next comment, Jose Rodriguez. Good evening, board members and community. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and I'm proud dual language teacher in Coachella Valley Unified School District. I want to take a moment to share the incredible impact the Spanish dual language immersion program has had on our students, families, and the broader community. This program directly supports the California Global 2030 vision, which aims for more students to graduate bilingual and biliterate by 2030. Half of K-12 students should be bilingual and biliterate. In our district, we're not just teaching a second language, we're nurturing cultural pride, deepening academic learning, and opening doors for future opportunities. I've seen firsthand how students thrive when they are taught in both English and Spanish. It not only boosts their confidence, but also supports their academic growth in meaningful ways. From my experience, many parents have expressed how grateful they are that their children can now communicate with their grandparents, something that strengthens family bonds across generations. In our classrooms, newcomers who arrive speaking primarily Spanish feel safe, welcome, and valued. That emotional safety becomes the foundation for learning. We've also seen real success in our instruction thanks to the use of the gradual release framework, clear learning intentions, and success criteria. These tools give students a roadmap for their learning, and I've noticed they take greater ownership and feel more confident in their progress, especially when learning complex content in two languages. Thank you for continuing to support the dual language program. It is changing lives and helping us raise generations of proud, capable, bilingual students ready for the world ahead. Thank you. And last comment, Esmeralda Hernandez. In January, Valley View Elementary School had the opportunity to pilot the corrective reading program. I am writing to share the remarkable progress my fourth grade students made throughout the corrective reading intervention program. Implemented with fidelity and dedication, the program has proven to be an invaluable tool in addressing reading challenges and enhancing literacy skills across our students in 3rd through 6th grade. Students participating in the program have demonstrated significant gains in both decoding and comprehension, leading to increased reading fluency, overall academic performance. Overall, in 4th grade, we had 20 students not meeting the standards in January. By April, when we piloted the program, we had only 8 students not meeting the standards. Students participating in the program have demonstrated significant gains in their overall academic performance. The program's structured approach has allowed for efficient use of instructional time and resources, maximizing the impact of student learning. I'm grateful for the board's continued support in providing the resources necessary for such initiatives. The success of the corrective reading program underscores the importance of targeted interventions in fostering student achievement.
Thank you. Moving on to 6.2, board member superintendent reports. Mr. Acuña?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, congratulations to everyone. We made it through another school year. It was a rough one, but we made it. Secondly, hope everything's going well. Summer school started today, so hopefully that'll continue with all our students, and then hopefully they'll have some fun as long as they're learning, but they'll have a little bit of fun while they're there as well. I, like other board members, have been to the graduations, the promotions over the last week, and I'd like to say that I think this is one of my favorite parts of this particular job that we have. You see a lot of the excitement with parents, the promise of the students, everything that has been done, the proud staff that has seen these children go from pre-K in some cases all the way to graduation, and I think it's something that I just I've always found it rewarding. I did want to highlight one particular promotion, graduation actually, that we had this year, and it was the very first one we had in our district's history, and that was the promotion graduation for our cosmetology program. And the reason I find that one so exciting is that that was a program that we've been pushing for a long time. I will have to embarrass her a little bit and thank Marie Parati, who really finally pushed that thing through amongst all the problems with facilities and all the other issues that we had, made it happen. 2 years ago, a group of students were accepted in the program, and I was proud to say that of the 24 that originally started, I believe we graduated, what, 20? Graduated 20 of those kids. So in 2 years, that's not too bad. These kids are ready to go take their tests or their boards, I think they're called, to start their careers. And that's, I think, what this district is all about. Educating, but also giving options and opportunities to our kids. And I cannot find a better way that prove that with the promotion and the graduation of these young students. Again, it was the first one in our history, and hopefully, I know it's not going to be the last one, but I was very proud having a small part and a small role of making that happen. So that was something that I believe was very exciting for me. In all the years I've been on the board, that was something that was very exciting for me. Lastly, I cannot stay silent on the just the idiotic nonsense that Mr. Carvalho came up here and did earlier today. Mr. Carvalho, who happens to be, I believe, from Cathedral City. This is not the only place he's done it. He went to the city of Coachella and attacked our mayor as well. Now, I ask you, why would someone from Cathedral City come to the school district here or the city of Coachella to complain about stuff that he probably has no clue about? This is a purposeful attack by a group of people who, this is what they do. And his attack was the same attack that was perpetrated by the Political Action Committee for the teachers during the campaign. They lost, and they can't handle that. So now what do? Now they sue us. Now they attack us. Now we have the idiot assembly member demanding that we do investigations just because he says. Again, all this was perpetuated by a couple of rich people from the West Valley, Palm Springs and Rancho Mirage, I believe, Mr. Harold Matzner and Mr. Fred Noble, who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars funneling that money into the Teachers Political Action Committee through their treasurer, Carissa Carrera. They paid for that campaign. And again, what do two businessmen from Palm Springs care about what's out here? They didn't do it out of the kindness of their heart. Well, Mr. Noble spent over $1 million on the community college board elections to get certain people elected that he wanted. And then here comes Megan Beeman suing everybody behind that. College of the Desert, City of Coachella, now she's representing the lawsuit against us. It's that same group of people that are attacking our community because they want what they want and they can't have it. And Mr. Carvalho, in my opinion, is their newest attack dog that's going to go around doing this. He doesn't know any of us. He's never met Mr. Gonzalez. He doesn't know anything about Mr. Gonzalez. And if he wants to talk about people related to somebody, I'm more than happy to say everybody on this board who's related to people in the district. And everybody who works in the district is related to people. And you know what? We should be proud of that, not attacking it. Because when we tell our kids, when you go to college, go to get an education, come back and serve your community. And that's exactly what they do. And now we're getting criticized for bringing them back to our own community. When other kids run to other places, they're coming back. And this gentleman, I have lots of words that, because we're an educational thing, I'm not going to say the words to him, but if I ever see him, I will tell him, has the audacity to come to our community, to our home, and attack us, attack Mr. Gonzalez, because someone in his family fell in love with somebody else from another family? Oh my God. Now we're going to have rules for that? This is the damn Trump administration telling us that what we can do and what rights we can have. We only have freedom of speech. Our senator today was arrested because he tried to ask the administration some questions. He was arrested and forcibly detained. That is what this is all about. This is about power. This is about control. And I'm sorry, I know people are, and I'll end up on the blogs and the TV personality people that some of our board members like to frequent as well, with the same damn conspiracy theory that they have absolutely no evidence. I sit on the facilities committee. Mr. Arredondo sits on facilities committee. We do not do contracts. We make recommendations to the board. They all know that. It doesn't matter. They lie, they make up stuff. And I'm sick of it. Mr. Carvalho, you want to come back? I mean, I noticed that he ran off because he was afraid, because he knew I was going to retaliate and tell him something as well. He ran back to Cathedral City into his little group to find out what to do next. I'm sick and tired of our community being attacked for no apparent reason. If you don't like our policies, that's fine. I've been doing that for all the years I've been on this board. I have had different agreements with the unions, with community people, with my friends and my relatives. But not once did they ever come to the board and say, you're a criminal because, with no evidence. Never in my history have I done that until now, until this leadership of the union started doing that. And that has to stop. This is about our kids. This isn't about power. If you don't like the way I vote, that's okay. We can have differences. And in the next election, don't vote for me. But I've gotten elected 5 times, and these people have not always agreed with me. But here we are. It's about, they want what they want, and I'm sick of it. And Mr. Carvalho, I don't even think he's ashamed. I think he's proud. He's going back and saying, look what I did. So he can come out on the news later on. He's probably going to come out on the TV personality show saying, look what I did. And I've had it. I've had it. And members of our own community who are supporting this and attacking this, they should be ashamed as well. You can have differences, but to go out and purposely lie because you think you can and get away with it, we have to stop that. I apologize for the rant, but I've been sitting here listening to all this nonsense all year, and I'm just done. And Mr. Carvalho was just the last straw for me. Coming in here from Cathedral City, knows nothing about our community, pretends like he grew up next door to us. And he knows us all. He can read our minds or what have you. So I apologize that I got off on that, but I'm just sick and tired of it. And again, someone from Cathedral City coming lecturing us? Yes, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. That's my report.
Mr. Tortes?
Thank you for that, Director Cunha. Thank you, President. Again, it's an honor to be on this board. My first 6 months being on this board, and my first graduation ceremony, and it's an honor to have, you know, the pride and accomplishment of all the kids that graduated. We have to remember that 5 years ago, that we were in an undetermined time. Everything was unpredictable 5 years ago also. So these kids that graduated just recently were a part of that chaos in 2020 when COVID first hit. And they were right in the beginning of high school. So these are the kids that lived through that chaos, and now, you know, they graduated, and we have to put our faith and our support, and the families I know will support them and be there for them in these truly unpredictable times that we are putting them into now. So the school needs to be there, the support systems need to be there for these kids, and also prepare the kids that we have, you know, now in the school for these unpredictable times. Again, it's just something that happens in the world times, and I think it's history that repeats itself. But again, I'm proud to be part of the board and the school system and the families that help get these kids out there to graduate, pick them up when the world is in chaos, and it's proof that, you know, these kids accomplished it. The staff, the principals that are out there got the kids back up. They got the graduation rates back up to where they were before and even higher. So we have to congratulate and you know, commend them, the staff, for getting them up to where they are now. But I believe, you know, the kids are going to be even stronger with the technology. It's out there now. They're going to be able to battle whatever the world puts before them, especially with the board and the family and the community support for these kids that recently graduated. Again, I congratulate everyone that was a part of the graduation system this year. Looking forward to more graduates and success next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Arredondo?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your public comments. We always, you know, as board members, you know, we like that the community is involved and people are here providing public comments. So thank you for everyone who spoke today. I'd like to congratulate just the class of 2025, whether you graduated or promoted from one of our schools. It's a very, very, just great time that we have our students walk across the stage and graduate and promote from our school districts. I know that we had a few promotions that were new this year that at the sites, normally we have them at different places. I know we're looking at different places for next year to accommodate all the community that wants to come out and be part of these graduations. And I mean, thank you to the tennis center who works with us every year to provide just that space for all the community to come and celebrate their loved ones, right? So I'm looking forward to visiting summer school. I've heard that there's been a large number of students that have participated in summer school. So I look forward to visiting this week and the following week just to see the summer school programs that are going on. I also like to just mention that to our families that our school district is committed to providing a safe learning opportunity for your students, and that your students are safe on our campus, and that it is our job to make sure that as they're there, they're provided with a good learning opportunity and with all the services that are needed. So, and with that, I don't have anything else, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Gonzalez?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I'd like to maybe start by thanking the work of Gary Soto. You hear all the chatter. We had a delusional teachers union president, Clarissa Klein Carrera, show up here today. And since Mr. Soto showed up to do the amazing work that was witnessed, and there was testimony today from many of our principals that what they're doing is working, and we can say it's working, but we also had staff go up and show us test scores, showed us the metrics of where we're at as a school district, and it obviously is working. But yet we have a teachers union president who is at the center of all the lies that we're hearing. She's at the center of the lies of this new, hopefully one-time term assemblyman, Jeff Gonzalez, who was here sitting right next to me. The day we were celebrating the accomplishments of this school district, we had lunch here. He was here with us. No sooner did he leave here, never asking, hey guys, I hear that there might be some fiscal challenges and I'm concerned about the amount of layoffs that we're going to potentially have. He had the opportunity. He talked to Dr. Esparza. I exchanged words with him. He never asked me anything. He left the room with bad intent. He left the room, and the same day he gets on the Rotten Rogan report and they start spewing all these lies. And what's funny is that all the lies that he's spreading and this audit that he's asking the state to do on CVUSD, all of it is the lawsuit claimed by Ms. Clarissa Carrera. It's all the same stuff, questioning the bidding practices and processes of this school district, claiming that I have financial interests in a company that I have nothing to do with because I have a nephew married to the niece of a construction company owner, not even a part of the construction company, claiming a bunch of stuff, improprieties. And it's all made up. It's all fabricated with bad intent, funded by hundreds of thousands of dollars from people that live on the other side of the desert. And for whatever reason, they want to make sure that CVUSD has a black eye. I don't understand it. They don't like the fact that we're succeeding. They don't like the fact that they lost the election. And they want to just keep going. They want to keep driving this negative agenda. We had almost all our principals here today talking about how great and in testimony of the work of this man that this lady got up 15 minutes ago, and I wish she was still here because I would be speaking exactly the same way, claiming that it doesn't work and criticizing the fact that we were supporting a program that is doing amazing work for the children of our school district. I just can't believe it. It's beyond me. It's shameful behavior by this assemblyman. If he really cared about our community and really was worried about people losing their jobs, he would have helped us. Hey, how can I help? How can I assist you in potential funding methods. How can I advocate for your school district? No, he takes all these lies, claiming the same thing that's being raised by a teachers union president who, I don't know who she obviously don't care about our kids. She don't care about the little brown faces that come to the school district. And so I'm very concerned about that. The gentleman from Cathedral City, he's a paid consultant. He drove all the way from over there to spew nothing but lies. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I only have to ask the question and ask the community, my community, to wonder why they're so concerned, to wonder why they would come all the way from over there to come talk bad about CVUSD with all the great things that we're doing, with all the improvement. And you know, I kind of wish we would do a forensic audit so that we would know and we would determine that our current superintendent has nothing to do with the financial condition of this school district. It was created by the former superintendent that got fired from this school district for lying to this board about our financial condition. It was something that I seen a long time ago. I told the board in closed session, I told the board in open session, and it's just appalling to me, and I'm ranting like Joey. I did want to congratulate, before I get off, the large summer school class that we have. I understand that we have more than 3,000 students, and I want to commend Dr. Esparza and the work of all the staff that's working to deliver this. I'm excited also. I know Mr. Acuna likes the fact that they do a lot of fun stuff in summer school, but I think there's also a time to get serious and do some credit recovery if kids are behind, to catch up on some of the work so that we make sure that we continue to improve. And I'm excited that we're graduating more children. So we're winning at every corner. We want to continue to do the same thing, and we're going to continue to be advocates for every child in this school district. And it is a very, very interesting time. You got to just look all the way into the office of the president of this country, the greatest country in the world, and how we're living right now. It's probably not, historically, is not going to be something that we're proud of in the future. But with that, that's my report.
Trustee Garcia.
Thank you. This year has not been easy. Almost every board meeting, we've had employees who have addressed us, concerned about the cuts that have needed to happen. Our IMA, who has been with us at least 6, 7 board meetings to continue to tell us about her workload concerns. We hear you. We will have a plan for how we're going to deal with these things next year. The graduation cycle was beautiful and uplifting, but these board meetings are still very grounding in the work that continues to happen. Even just today, we had 7 parents who are worried about the budget cuts and how our programming is going to change for their students and what that will look like. So we need to do the work to make sure that we have a solid plan for next year. Even within our own board meetings, families are calling for transparency. We have complied with RCOE all year, making very difficult decisions. We have plans. As long as we're doing what we should be doing, we should have nothing to hide. I know that the audit, the tone of the audit, I would say, the way that it came out feels strange because Jeff is new. But if we have nothing to hide, just give them whatever they want. We've complied. We know we've complied with RCOE. Let's show our families that we have solid plans in place. If there are things we need, let's work on it so that by next year, our families aren't worried. They're talking about how excellent and smooth the year has gone. Because ultimately,
we're accountable to our families. So transparency should be at the top of our list for those things. The mudslinging that's happening right now, it's not helping our families feel any more secure in what's going on. The mudslinging against our own employees does not help our students get through their day, get through to graduation. I understand that tensions are high, but we need to find a way to get past this, ignore the noise, and focus on the students, because anything else is doing a disservice to our families. Those are still our employees that we're talking about here. And they're allowed to have elected officials within their own union. That is their thing. They have rights. Us throwing them under the bus does not change that. It does not help matters. So I don't know how anything other than ignoring anything other than working on our plans. We still have so much work to do to make sure that we're solid for next year. That is what I'm worried about. We had a very long meeting this meeting. We had a lot of actions. We have more to come. That's what I'm worried about. And I hope that we can all be on the same page in that point. Thank you.
Trustee Paz? Thank you.
Good evening or good night, everyone. Thank you for being here and hanging on until these hours. First, I want to thank the parents that have been consistent here for years now, and seeing how much you've grown. I mean, you had almost half of that side of the board meeting, right, with a lot of your parents. So it's really nice to see you come out consistently and advocating for restorative justice. Anyone who knows me knows that I deeply believe that the foundation for us to succeed is to have that community building, those restorative practices, so that we can dialogue, so that we can get through our differences, so that people feel like they are in a safe space. That goes for our students and for our staff and administration. So I thank you for being consistent in that message, and I truly believe that it's key for us. We cannot, I mean, I don't know that we do not, how we continue to make all the academic achievements we want to see if our students don't have the basics, which is that desire to come to school, right? Like, we need to start with that. They need to want to come, they need to want to stay. And then everything else that I've heard about, it's going to take us to the top. Or like, so thank you for the excitement that I heard from the staff. And I cannot leave this night without acknowledging and taking a moment to say how sad, for some people, lingering conditions that our community is going through, right? We are an immigrant community, and it feels that we are the target, right? Like, our communities are the target. Very inhumane treatment of people. It's being aired in every news channel or social media that you see. So our communities are already under a lot of stress, and I'm saddened by that. I am hopeful, I think I have to be hopeful, that for our communities, we are going, we're going to persist. I see that our community is more united than what the narrative is out there. Both our out community, right, like our neighbors, but also our CVUSD community. And I also feel that despite the challenges we have faced in this district with our finances, we are finally stepping in the right direction. And trust me, I would be the first one asking for an audit if I felt that things were not right. I mean, I did that as an advocate, coming into these board meetings and questioning information that was provided to the board before I was sitting on this board, continue to ask questions. As a board member, not understanding why from one day, especially when we went through negotiations, why on one day they would tell us we could afford a certain percentage and that was the limit, and then the next time it was something else. So I feel very, a lot more assured, right, by the work that Superintendent Esparza has done in bringing our COE. I am happy that our COE has been here, that they've been looking at our finances, that they're giving us that assurance. Again, trust me, some people might see that as a bad thing, and I've said it publicly and I said it to them. I'm glad that they're here because as a board member, they've given me that assurance that I was always seeking. Are we looking at this right? Is all the information clear? We've been audited, right? So the questions that the assembly member is asking for, really, they've been answered. So it's hard for me to understand what else is left to do when it comes to our finances and to disclosing and having the transparency that everyone is asked for. It was in March that we reviewed the FIGMAT audit. We've been having conversations. One of the questions that the assembly member has been asking that is looked into is when did we go in this direction of having a deficit? That has been answered. 2019, we had an audit. We had a structural deficit. 2020 came. He's asking when were there surpluses? 2020 came, one-time dollar monies came, right? We had a lot of one-time monies. Yes, that reflected in our books as surpluses. That money is no longer here. Our COE financial people as well as the FIGMAT have recognized that, and we're not the only school district. This is happening. It doesn't justify anything, but it's happening, right? Again, if we didn't have those answers, I would say yes. Let's do the audit. It's helpful to have. I learned so much when we go through auditing processes. We've disclosed another question, how many programs are being impacted, how many staff? We've talked about the stabilization plan. That all has been in public meetings, right? There is an accounting of how many programs are being impacted, how many staff is being impacted, the numbers are there. I don't know that a new audit is gonna, is it needed, right? The numbers are out there. We've submitted the stabilization plan to our COE. And I could go on and on, right? We've learned about internal controls, right, in this time. All those are being put in place. I am very thankful for, and I'm not ashamed to say, these are the learnings from the auditors. We were not in the best shape, and now we're moving in this direction. If I felt there was a need, if these questions were not answered, I'd be happy to welcome anybody. And to the question, so I oppose an audit unless I can understand really what is it that's going to be different. It's time intensive, it's resource intensive, at a time where both the state and this district have structural deficits, right? And the thing is that sarcastically, the gentleman who came and spoke earlier is like, if you have nothing to fear, it's not about fearing, but there is a common narrative that impacts our communities, the communities of the Eastern Coachella Valley, that whenever we go out into other parts, like, oh, you're from there? Oh, how can it, right? Educated people, many people of us here in this room who grew up in these communities probably face that on a day-to-day. And what are you doing there? You're not afraid? Common questions that we get asked. And so right now, these insinuations that there's something being hidden that is going to be uncovered by a new audit is driving a lot of attention. When the audit comes out with no findings, guess what? No one's going to go out and make a big deal. Yay, no findings. Why? Because that's not news, right? So I'm very just cautious about the intent, the repercussions. If we need it, let's do it. Show me that we need it. I think our COE would have told us that we needed something more. So those are my comments. It's sad, but at the same time, focusing on the steps that we've taken with our new superintendent, we're heading in the right direction. We need to stay steadfast, do the hard things that we need to do, and keep our students in mind and turn this district around. So I'm hopeful that that can happen. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot said. I do want to start off, the intention of board member reports, the space, right? I respect my colleagues, their comments and what's being stated, right? I do want to just make a correction. Our former superintendent did retire. And so I do want to note that because I don't want it to be misconstrued out there and create this narrative, right? I do want to start off, there's been a number of, great events. I had the opportunity to join a number of promotions, graduations across our district. It's just a great time to celebrate and recognize our students, right, and our staff for the great work that they've been doing. And it just culminates in this moment, right? For our parents, they're proud of their children. We have a lot of students going to amazing institutions. We have a lot of students getting full rides, GATE scholars. It's just amazing, and sometimes we just get so tied up in the noise, as was said, right, that we just fail to acknowledge the greatness of our young people. And so, there are a number of things that I could probably go and list them. I did attend our State of the District. I really want to appreciate staff just for doing such an amazing job to highlight the work of our students, our staff. Just being able to be in this room. I know that, previous circumstances, we've done it outside, but I think being able to just sit here in this very room to talk about the great work that our students are doing, the work of our staff. I think we had our student trustee, Eric, share his story and, tying it to our current moment, right? He shared how he came to this country and, sitting in the audience as a teacher that welcome him into his classroom, right? And to see kind of that full circle, it just really touched me as an educator to really kind of see our district is doing great work and we can see that in our students. To keep it short, our community is undergoing a number of difficult, there's no way to mince it, right? The politics of it, our federal administration. We are a community of immigrants, and so it's really difficult to go in as an educator, right, and kind of see the impact that's happening. On Wednesday, I passed by the swap meet. We all know that it's the happening place, and it was just completely empty. And so I think to see that our cultural community spaces are being affected and impacted, I can see how our parents and our families can be impacted, right? I also do want to challenge, right, the narrative that our immigrants are only our labor, right, our disposable labor. It includes our staff, right? We rarely talk about the educators that are teaching, our lawyers, our doctors, right? And so I think, it's more than just, the labor, those that pick our fruits and vegetables to feed us every day, but it's really everyone, right? It's our families, it's our neighbors. And so it's really tough to be doing this work in that context, right? The last thing I'll say with respect to the audit, right, because it was mentioned, we've been doing a lot of work. The last 2 years, this isn't something that we started yesterday. We've been making the tough decisions for the last 2 years. We rolled up our sleeves. These are very uncomfortable conversations, right? No one wants to have the discussions of the poor decisions that were made 2-3 years ago, right? Since 2019. But here we are. And that's what we have to do. And we have to have, what we say, courageous conversations and do the work. I do feel that we've been doing the work. Sometimes it might not seem that way. It might seem like, well, what is it that they're really doing? But we've been, engaged in our FIGMAT audits. We've been doing, actually one of the things I attended was a training with Mr. Tortes around the Brown Act and things like that. And so we'll be putting together a number of trainings for our board members. There are a number of mechanisms within our structures and policies that we've been adopting as we find things that need improvement, right? We're not unique in the situation that we're in. Like Ms. Boss shared, there are a number of districts that are facing similar situations. And it is, unfortunate that, again, here we are, that our district is again kind of in that limelight, right? I do agree, we do need transparency and we've been working towards that. Yeah, I think I'd agree with my colleagues, right? If there is a need for an audit, then I think we need to be able to justify it as opposed to just say we need one for the sake of doing one, right? But I really appreciate staff and thank you all for holding on with us for the meeting. Superintendent.
Thank you. I want to thank TODEC for working with our Student Support Services staff to make sure that we have information going out based on what is happening in our community and in communities across California and across the nation. Being an Angelino myself, I have to see what is happening in my own neighborhoods, and it is not a good sight to see, and I am so thankful that I don't see that here, even though I know that stuff is happening. It's not to the extent that it is in Los Angeles right now, and I pray to God that it doesn't happen here. And so TODEC, thank you. My hat's off to you for continuously coming to help us when our parents and our students need that support. So thank you for that. I want to thank the parents and the staff who have made public comment and the parents who are advocating for us to continue to support our students, especially you mentioned COVID and then you mentioned what we're going through now. And so it's constant. There are constant stressors that happen that our students need that support. So thank you for voicing that. I want to congratulate the class of 2025 and all of the students that again promoted, culminated, and graduated. So plenty of graduates this year, and so we're very proud of that. I do want to make a comment that the state superintendent has been working closely with the legislator to ensure that we receive $525 million for expanded learning, $200 million in one-time fund for literacy professional development, along with $10 million for reading difficulty screeners. And so, as many of you know, I worked with the state superintendent, so I'm very happy to say that the screeners was one of the initiatives I was working on. And so I'm hoping that that actually comes to fruition, so where we could start screening our students at the very early ages to ensure that we're providing them the literacy support that they deserve. I also want to thank Transportation and Busology for working with us. We're going to be piloting our summer program. Summer school started today. And so within the next week, our parents will be able to get on to their email and create an account and actually start to track their students on the bus. And so we're really proud that Transportation has taken the lead on this. IT has supported with this, and of course, Educational Services has been involved along with HR, making sure that we have all our ducks in a row so that we know where all our ducks are. So I wanted to just thank you for that. Produce giveaway. We had a produce giveaway yesterday. It was successful. We're going to look at different ways to provide produce to our families, as well as possibly in the lunch areas. We have 3 different sites throughout the district where we provide lunches for our students. And so providing those produce boxes for our families that are taking their children to those lunch spots would be very efficient instead of them having to drive all the way here. Several of our families who live in the Salton City or who live in Mecca or in the North Shore area, we're starting to provide produce giveaways in those areas as well. So just hold on tight. We'll be putting out the calendar to see when we're coming to your area and making sure that you know when we're going to have it at those lunch spots. In regards to school site highlights, again, preliminary data scores, I've shared those scores with our board. And so they've been able to see the different schools, the different grades, and the district overall. So we're doing a great job on that. And I do attest a lot of that work, of course, to our coaches, Our coaches have done an amazing job in going into the classrooms and supporting our teachers and just having those conversations with our teachers and providing that feedback and working alongside their administrators and making sure that everybody understands how our students are learning, what they need, and ensuring that we're sticking to our instructional framework. Summer school. Excited that we're having field classes in summer school. We have lots of students, one of the most successful summer schools in a very, very long time. Over 3,500 students attended the first day. We're hoping to get a few hundred more within the next few weeks, as they're going to see that they are going to have engaging activities throughout the day, and making sure that we're also hitting the fun pieces and as well as the educational pieces. And so I want to thank the summer school staff, our teachers who signed up for summer school, our administrators, and our classified staff who are doing an amazing job on welcoming them. So saw lots of videos today on the welcoming committees that welcomed our students and got them into those classes today. I do want to make a comment in regards to what will be happening within the next week and going in up to Sacramento, along with some of my staff. Please know that we defend Coachella, Coachella Valley Unified, strong. As a former assistant superintendent in Boston, I constantly had to participate in audits, as well as present to city council, as well as to the Senate, and meet with them. It's very different. The mayor basically is the chancellor or the superintendent of the district, so this is not new for me. I do want to just express that I wish that there would be a better relationship with our politicians in the area who see CVUSD as a place where, you know, there's negative things happening, and for us to have those conversations. And as mentioned, we had the state of the district, and our assemblyman was here. Again, nothing was ever mentioned, so I'm not sure if those conversations were already being had at the state level, but he did participate in our virtual reality and was entertained with the students and having conversations with them, so he knows the great things that are happening here. And so I'm hoping that we will be able to go and ensure that we're doing everything that we need. As we had, again, the FICMAT audit, we can have a more deep, intense forensic audit, and it's going to, again, just be another opportunity for us to, like our FICMAT report, to improve our practices if that's something that we need to do. But at this point, we had the FICMAT audit. We're working on the recommendations made by FICMAT. We also had a CD audit recently. And the CD audit is a federal program monitoring audit where we had 0 findings. And so we understand that some people have this idea that there's these negative things happening here. Please come and talk to us. You can apply for a public records request. We've provided public records requests with thousands and thousands and thousands of pages to some of the people that Mr. Acuna has mentioned, as well as some of the people that other board members have mentioned. And so we are being transparent. Our COE is here with us. They're here not just at board meetings, they're here with us throughout the week as well. And we consult with them constantly on our finances and making sure that we're sticking to our fiscal stabilization plan, because that is going to give us the stability for our district to be able to offer our students the education that they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to information presentations. 7.1, we have Karen Pantoni, Public Hearing, Local Control Accountability Plan 2025-2026. Thank you. Is the mic on?
Sorry. Good evening.
Thank you.
Board President Vargas, trustees, Executive Cabinet, Dr. Esparza, our CVUSD staff and community. I am Karen Petney, and I am here tonight as the Director of State and Federal Accountability to provide a presentation before the public hearing for the LCAP opens. And on your dais, you have a blue folder. In that folder, you have this public hearing presentation, as well as the LCAP acronym list, and it is extensive. There are a lot of acronyms, and a list of, and also goals 1 through 5 with more detailed actions. So the 25-26 LCAP is a $130.5 million district plan that will take us through the next 2 years, years 2 and 3 of a 3-year plan. It's also a living document, and as such, it will be monitored and updated each year. This is the timeline for the LCAP planning for 24-25. In October, we began meeting with our educational partners, our staff, community members, students, and families. We, in our first meeting, we reviewed data from the California dashboard indicators, and we also provided an update in November to the board on the implementation of our 24-25 LCAP and expenditures related year-to-date expenditures. Moving on to February, March. In February, we shared the mid-year LCAP update with you and our community. And we also began to hold roadshows at all of our schools. We had one at each site, at least one. And also we held them in the district office here for our district staff members. It was an overview of the LCAP, an opportunity for parents, students, staff to ask questions, and also to participate in the LCAP survey. In March and April, we continued our goal analysis of our 24-25 actions and reviewed our year-to-date expenditures. Also consulting throughout the whole timeline with our advisory, our LCAP advisory committee, and our parent advisory committees, our families, and our students. In April and May, we made budget adjustments to the 25-26 LCAP based on the May revise, the governor's May revise, and we reviewed the components of the 25-26 draft with our DLAC committee and also our LCAP advisory. And that brings us here to June tonight, where we're having the public hearing. On June 26th, we will bring the final LCAP back for approval, and then it is submitted to the county within 5 days of being approved. This slide shows the LCAP educational partner engagement for our LCAP survey. So you can see we had 7,335 families take the survey. Staff, we had 763 certificated and 487 classified staff members, and over 8,000 students participated in the LCAP survey this year. The educational survey for all of our educational partners closed mid-April before we went into spring break to allow us time to review the survey, the responses, any trends that emerged, suggestions, and comments that would have impact on our LCAP. The survey was reopened in mid-May for 2 weeks to increase the number of student responses and also classified staff responses. We had an additional 1,700 students complete the survey. We had an additional 52 classified members complete the survey. The survey responses for our families and our certificated staff did not change. Educational partner engagement. So our LCAP has been enhanced with input and feedback from the organizations that our district partners with to support our students. Survey results can be found in the Engaging Educational Partners section of the LCAP. And we engaged with also our parent advisory committees throughout the year and our LCAP advisory committee. Beginning back in October at our first meeting, we shared what was new in the 24-25 LCAP because it was year one of a new 3-year LCAP. We shared the new structure of the 3 cohorts of our schools and also the coaches for ELA, math, and literacy. We shared the implementation status of the LCAP actions and services, and we, at that time, surveyed committee members to see what they would like to see covered in the meetings for the year, what they were most interested in, and they wanted more interactive activities. So in the January LCAP Advisory Committee, we shared newly released dashboard data that had just come out. We did a deep data dive with our groups and the LCAP Advisory Committee. We looked at ELA and math, English learner progress, LPAC scores, graduation rate, college and career indicator, chronic absenteeism, and suspension. We engaged our groups in an interactive process where they moved from station to station, where we looked at the data in detail, and for each station, the directors from different departments and ed services who had the actions in the LCAP that are related to that data were on hand to answer any questions that our advisory committee members might have. In March, we held our LCAP advisory meetings, one in English and one in Spanish. Some of our parents attended both nights. We shared the mid-year LCAP update with the committee. We did a brief review of the LCAP goals and year-to-date expenditures and a budget projection for 25-26. We held an information session where, again, we had 6 stations, and our community members were able to rotate each session and look at the actions for goals 1 through 5, ask any questions of directors that they might have. And then the participants, we had posters of all the actions around the room, and the participants put their comments on each action, what they agreed with in the action, or what was their suggestion for the 25-26 LCAP. So this is the process throughout the year that we are engaging our educational partners in the LCAP and giving us information and feedback. We then collected all the information on the Post-its, and we entered it into Thought Exchange, our survey platform, so that we could see what were some trends that were emerging and what were some outliers as well. In April, we shared proposed changes with the LCAP Advisory Committee, and we had participants' feedback from 31 parents, 26 employees, 3 community members, and 14 who did not identify. They were just classified as unknown. We didn't know which educator partner group they belonged to. So in May, again, we had an English and Spanish meeting, which our parents really appreciated hearing the LCAP presentation firsthand in Spanish. We shared our LCAP survey results. We shared a draft of the LCAP goals, an overview of the budget, and then we had an opportunity for feedback and questions. After those meetings, we met also with DLAC. So after those meetings, we responded to all of their questions and comments in writing and shared those responses with them via email. And then in addition to the LCAP surveys, we also did a survey for La Familia High School because they have the equity multiplier funding. And so as such, we like to see input from their students and families and parents on what they would like to see with the programs that are built with those fundings. So that is our educational partner engagement. Here is a year-to-year comparison of the 24-25 LCAP expenditures to the 25-26 LCAP expenditures. And you can see the difference of $71.3 million. So some considerations in addition to the district stabilization plan are we have one-time funds, which you all have spoken about tonight. We had grants that were either expiring or being expended in this 24-25 school year, so would not carry over. But we also have reduction in funding based on our ADA and our attendance. And that affects our categorical programs, Titles 1, 2, and 3, our migrant program, and also our ACES 21st Century and Assets programs. So those are some of the factors that go into the reduction in our overall LCAP, along with the considerations in the stabilization plan. And please ask questions if you have questions along the way. Our planning and funding alignment. The funding sources that you see in blue are required to be included in the LCAP. They are federal funds, our equity multiplier funding for La Familia, and then also the LCFF and Title I funding that is in our school plans. for student achievement, our CVUSD. The funding that is in yellow is not required to be represented in the LCAP, but we do include it in the LCAP because it is aligned with and complementary to our LCAP goals and also our district priorities. So looking at data. So the LCAP tells the story of a district. And part of the LCAP story is based on the data. And as you've heard tonight, our data is trending in a positive direction, which we are all excited about. When we look at data, we're looking at the impact of the actions and services in our LCAP on our overall student success, but also the success of individual student groups as well. Do we see positive results? And if not, how are we modifying the actions and services to better meet the needs of our students? So in this dashboard, in the upper left-hand side, you see the gauge with red on the left being very, very low and blue being very high for all of the indicators except suspension and chronic absenteeism is the opposite. So for that, red is high. So this is the 23 dashboard, and you can see this reflects all of our schools, all student groups. We have 2 red indicators, 1 orange, 3 yellow, and 1 that doesn't have a color because it only had 1 year of data. And without 2 years of data to compare, you won't have a color on the dashboard, just a status of low. And I show you this and because it's very exciting when I move to the next year, to 2024. And you can see green and yellow on our overall dashboard. Our suspension rate decreased, our graduation rate increased, our college career indicator and our ELA scores increased. We have 0 red indicators in 2024, and we have 3 green indicators showing the progress that our students are making year over year. Whereas the dashboard shows us the overall progress for our students, the student group report that is shown here for 2023 on the top and 2024 on the bottom shows the performance status for student groups individually for all of the indicators listed on the top. So in 2023, we have 10 student groups with 1 or more red indicators. Every student group except the white student group is in red or orange, which is low or very low in ELA, math, graduation, and college and career indicator, and we have 1 indicator in green. When you move to 2024, we've reduced to 6 student groups with 1 or more red indicators. All students are making progress in ELA except our foster youth and African American, which are very small student groups, sizes. All student groups are making progress in math, except foster youth, homeless, and African American. And all student groups are making progress on their graduation rate and their college and career indicator. They are all in yellow or green. And we have nine indicators in green on this student group report. So that's progress. That's very exciting, and it's very exciting to hear the early preliminary results for this year's CAPS scores to see that trend is continuing. I did include, just so you could see in more detail, because I know those pictures are small on the previous slide. So you can see 2023, red and orange, and then the progress being made in 2024. A lot less red and orange, more yellow and green. These are the 5 LCAP goals. Goal 1 is educational opportunities. 2 is health and wellness. 3 is parent and community partnerships. 4 is professional learning for our staff. And 5 is the equity multiplier goal for La Familia. Along the bottom, you can see the amount of LCFF supplemental concentration funding that is dedicated to each goal, and then the overall amount of funding in the LCAP for each goal, which includes also other state and federal funds, to bring it to a total of $130.5 million. So After looking at the progress that we made on the 2024 dashboard compared to 2023, it's important for us to know what is moving the needle for our students to be successful. And so on this slide, you'll see the indicators on the right that are impacted by the actions and services in Goal 1. And along the bottom, the actions and services that are having the most impact on creating those success for our students are the instructional framework, which you've heard a lot about tonight. Also, iReady, Canvas, and Avant, which are assessment programs that help us monitor student progress and then adjust instruction accordingly. Our instructional coaches, our migrant program, dual language, the RCTE pathways, and academies, Puente, Avid, credit recovery, both at La Familia and online, and the work that secondary does with RCOE in the data contract, where they're creating the portrait of a graduate and also a non-graduate. In Goal 2, what's moving the needle? We have expanded learning and enrichment opportunities for our students. We have our wellness centers, Latino Commission, and our health services. One area for us, to focus on would be attendance. Our ADA is currently 91.87%, and the state average is 95%. So in increasing our ADA rate, we are also given the opportunity to increase our state and federal funding for our students as well. Goal 3, parent and community partnerships. So attendance numbers at our parent workshops and community resource fairs indicate that our parent community engagement is very successful. Typically, we have between 50 and 75 attendees at our monthly parent workshops here at the district, and over 350 attendees at the resource fair, along with 25 community agencies that provide resources to our families. Also, Aries communication platform, the Parent Square app, that is used to send, we've sent over 600,000 auto notices this year. We are providing communication on a daily basis. Over 80% of our parents receive notifications via email, and of the parents that have mobile phones, 98% have opted to receive notifications via text. And on the right, the indicators suspension rate and chronic absenteeism are just two of the indicators that are impacted when parents are engaged. Goal 4, you've also heard a lot about tonight, professional learning for our staff. Goal 4 affects every indicator on the dashboard because it's about training and professional development for our staff. And the instructional framework, the gradual release, the science of reading, our instructional coaches, our district leadership academy, and then also throughout the year, professional development on topics such as thinking maps and USI math, our transformational model, and dual language. Goal 5 is La Familia's equity multiplier goal. And this year was a planning and beginning implementation phase for La Familia, and for them to utilize their LCFF equity multiplier funds. They expect to fully implement their academic intervention and enrichment program in the 25-26 school year. And then any questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions?
No?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to move on to 7.2.
Well, we have to open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there language? At this time, I open. Do we have to motion? I'm sorry. No? Okay. At this moment, we'll open the public hearing. Thank you. And we'll leave it open for a minute. Is that what it is? Thank you. Okay. So is there any public comments on the LCAP hearing? And we'll keep it open for a minute. No public comments? Accidentally dialed you. Okay. Seeing that we have no public comments, we're going to go ahead and close the LCAP hearing. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. 7.2, Daniela Tavares, public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-26 proposed budget.
Can you put the PowerPoint presentation, please? Yes. Do you want me to send it again? There we go. So good evening. I'll be presenting today on the 25-26 budget, which was built based on the governor's May revise, which has not yet been enacted, and will be updated after the budget has been approved and signed into law. So the purpose of this presentation is to present estimated actuals for fiscal year 24-25 based on our year-to-date analysis, review our budget for 25-26, build on the governor's May revise, highlight key assumptions and multi-year outlook, and discuss next steps for budget updates after the state adoption. So some of the budget assumptions done when we were building the budgets include for fiscal year 24-25 estimated funded ADA of 15,008. Our actual ADA was 14,593. For fiscal year 25-26, it was 14,203.
with an actual ADA being projected at 14,634. As a reminder, our district is funded on a 3 prior year average ADA. As far as our statutory COLA, for fiscal year 24-25, it's at 1.07. Fiscal year 25-26, 2.43, 26-27, 3.52, and for 27-28, 3.52. The TK add-on dollar amounts were updated as long as the other lottery and mandated dollars that the district receives. As far as salaries, with our certificated side of the house, we are currently under a tentative agreement pending the final approval. With our classified TACA, we are moving forward, I believe, with fact-finding at this time. Step-in column for certificated was included in the budget in 24-25 and on the outward years at 2% for certificated staff and 1% for classified staff. Our health and welfare cap for certificated is 21,655, and for our classified is 22,000, and the rest of the statutory benefits are also there for your review. So these were the assumptions when we were working on our estimated actuals for the end of the year, and as we were building the budget for 25-26 that we used to build the budget. So when we are talking about fiscal year, our current fiscal year 24-25 and our estimated actuals, you can see what our revenues versus expenditures are to year to date, where we're projecting. We're projecting deficit spending of about 31 million at the end of this year, with revenues being brought in at 374 million and expenditures being set at 405 million. And it's a breakdown of the type of revenues that the district receives. 66% is our LCFF, 13% is federal funds, 16% is state, 5% is local. And as far as our expenditures, our certificated salaries account for 32% of our expenditures, classified salaries 15%, our employee benefits 27%, books and supplies 6%, contracted services 14%, capital outlay 6%. For our budget year 25-26, we are projecting a deficit spending of about $18 million, with revenues coming in at $344 million and expenditures of $362 million. And a breakdown of how the expenses and revenues, but the percentages of the revenues and expenses is provided for your review as well. So then we get to our NYP for fiscal year 25-26, which is at our budget year, fiscal year 26-27.
Daniela.
Yes.
Could you, I think there's a question on the previous slide.
Can we ask questions while you go, or do we
Yeah,
have
go
to
ahead.
wait?
No,
If you
you can
go
go
to
ahead.
one slide back. right?
One back? That one?
Yes, very interested, because, I mean, as we've been talking about our budget and financial situation, understanding that we have been deficit spending. We saw it in the projections for this current year, and then we're seeing the deficit spending for the 25-26 budget, even after all the cuts, right?
That's correct.
So I guess my question is, what is the takeaway from this? It's a good thing that we are reducing it, but where is the money coming to cover that deficit for each year? And then what are we going, and maybe you're going to get into what we need to do in out years for the rest, but again, different points here. First, good to see less deficit spending. Question, how are we covering the deficit spending each year? I'm going to assume it's through our reserves, but I want to hear it from you. And then again, what's the takeaway in moving and planning for the out years?
So as we're talking about deficit spending, the reductions that we have done, you can see that this year we're estimating at deficit spending of 31 million. And for 25-26, taking into account the reductions from the stabilization plan, and we decreased our deficit spending to 18 million. We're still in a structural deficit. These reductions are allowing the district to meet our state mandated reserve requirement of 3%, but we're still not even making a ding on our structural deficit, because right now when I go into the NYP, you'll see that even though in 25-26, our structural deficit is 18 million, when we get into 26-27, it goes back to a deficit spending of 31 million. And that's because we are in declining enrollment. So, our funding for ADA is being reduced as well as the one-time dollars that the district had. So more reductions, unfortunately, are needed. This MYP and the budget that we worked on is, trying to get to a place where at the minimum, we are meeting our state requirement of 3%. But in order to start really digging deep and alleviating our deficit, unfortunately, it requires more reductions.
So the
Or
options.
or an increase in our ADA and enrollment.
So increase in enrollment, increase in revenue overall,
Yes.
right? Unless there's a lot of good things happening and we get more money from the state, which it's not looking likely. We are going to be in this position of having to right size. And I think that is when we're talking about the deficit spending, we have declining enrollment and we don't always follow that declining enrollment with the right sizing of our district or staff. So that is going to have to continue into the out years.
That's correct. So as I mentioned, we are on an ongoing structural deficit. The temporary reductions help with our reserves, but not for the long-term solvency of the district. We need to continue to monitor and face additional reductions to be able to maintain the 3% in fiscal year 26-27. A reduction of about $4 million needs to be done. If a reduction of $4 million is not done in 26-27, which we are proposing it's done to our contracted services, then in 26-27, we wouldn't meet 3%. Our 3% reserve, I'm not even touching into the structural deficit. Right now, I'm just trying to meet our reserves. And 27-28, in addition to the $4 million reduction that is needed in 26-27, and 27-28, an additional $6.2 million reduction to just meet our reserves would be needed. So that kind of speaks to the condition where the district is at, that yes, there were several reductions that, and unfortunately impacted our staff. But in order for the district to keep going and at some point start addressing this deficit, that's kind of like the state that we're in. More reductions and more hard decisions are going to be needed.
I have another question on the structural deficit. So what leads to a structural deficit?
When we are spending more than what we are receiving. So
Yes.
if you see, if we receive, 344 million in revenues, but we're spending 405, we're spending more than the funding that we're generating.
And in our district, right, so what has been the underlying areas where we've been maybe overspending? Like what might attribute, right? Like what are the conditions
It's mostly been in staffing. The district has been overstaffed for a period of time. It's been mentioned before where enrollment has declined, but the staffing remained consistent and sometimes even increased.
Thank you.
So on the NYP for our LCFF resources, as I mentioned, our CBITS enrollment was 15,820. As of last week, our enrollment is 15,757, so we've declined about 63 from when we originally started the year. For state revenues, it's staying consistent across the years, with the exception of Head Start, which received an additional $450,000 annual ongoing funding. For our local revenues,
Daniela, I'm sorry to interrupt
sorry.
you. I know we have our county and our, I don't know if there's any comments or clarifications from our fiscal advisor as well.
AJ Arena, if you'd like to make a comment in regards to structural deficit, and not just particularly our district, but how do districts get here?
And I think it's really important. The reason, it's not that I didn't know what a structural deficit
no,
is.
right, yeah.
I think it's really important because there are the underlying accusations, right? That money has disappeared, made to be disappeared, and I'm saying as softly because I don't like repeating what other people say about our district or what they're implying is happening in our district. So it is very important for me. You have been peeling every piece of the onion in as you're, guiding us in getting us to be more fiscally stable. So I would like a clarification in your opinion or an explanation, right, as to how, what conditions have been contributing to the structural deficit.
You can both come.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Well,
I appreciate you all coming to the
Yeah,
meeting.
no problem. We're definitely here to, show our support. And I know Daniela and Ajay and the entire team has been working really hard on this for quite some time. And so we're just here to show our support. But I hear your question and that it's related in general about what structural deficit means and what that looks like. Full disclosure, this budget has not been provided to us, right? This is something the district's still working on. It is not board approved. And so it's not something we've had the opportunity to look at. We will do that after it's board approved. But in general, structural deficit is kind of like thinking about your own home budget, and that if I make $10,000 a month and my bills are $11,000 a month, and I'm having to pull $1,000 from savings every month just to live, that's a structural deficit. Eventually, my savings will be depleted. When you see that you have revenues that are lower in that year than your expenditures, you have to find the difference between, is that a structural deficit, or do I have expenditures this current year, maybe in 25, 26, where I received revenue last year for that expenditure. Maybe I received it late in the year. It's a program that goes over several years. And so if I'm spending that money in the subsequent fiscal year, that's going to increase my expenditures in that budget year. But my revenue is not going to go up because I already received the money. So it can skew the vision of that because your expenditures can look higher than your revenue. So you have to understand the story. We always like to say, what is the story behind that? And that's where, Daniela comes in with the narrative of the entire budget, is to understand the difference between a structural deficit and where are we with our expenditures.
That's very helpful, thank you.
I'm just going to add something to it. To looking at your structural deficit, I always tell the board and people to look at it, your ending balance, what you started. So if I'm just looking at this slide, you're looking at starting at unrestricted at $53 million, and you're going down by 26, 20, 27, 28 to 11 million. That means there is a structural deficit, even because if you have money coming in the year one and you're spending in year two, your bottom line should pretty much be the same because you already have the money. In your case, it's showing the balance declining.
That's your savings account where you're pulling $1,000 a month from, and it's going to deplete.
Ms. Garcia. Thank you all for your explanation. We just feel like it's important for our public to understand, whoever's still with us out in the public and whoever will watch this later, right? Because, transparency is important. My comment is going to be the same. This is our projected budget. It's like your grocery list. And then in the fall, our unaudited actuals will come out and we will find out what actually happened versus these projections that we have. I saw for 2024, so for this school year and for next school year, our books and supplies is still at a 6%, which historically, I know, Daniela, you've been here for a year, we tend to really spend between 5 and 7 million, and we have 24 million slated for this year. Next year, we have 21.6 million. We're talking about where we want to or will need to cut. I want those numbers so much closer to what they really are. I understand a buffer zone, and I understand that there may be years where it's a little different, but that's $17 million different than what it's going to be in the fall. $14.6 million when we are trying to right-size the district everywhere, and hearing from our families and our employees how nervous it makes them. I want to push us to be as accurate. I understand we want a buffer, but as accurate as we can be in books and supplies so that we're not scaring our public with finding out where are we going to cut, where can we cut. I mean, we cut so deeply this year, there really aren't too many places that we can cut realistically, right? Without really changing programming. When books and supplies are that big of a difference, it bothers me. Yeah, that's my comment.
So for the books and supplies on the unrestricted side of the house, $8 million were budgeted. 4.5 has already been spent, and 1.1 is encumbered. That means, there's POs out there that need to be paid, so those dollar amount is encumbered. What's uncommitted is about $2 million. 1.4 of that is in the LCAP, which we have to budget for the expenditures that are in the LCAP, and another 800,000 is on site discretionary funds that go to the schools, and they're still spending some of those dollars. So that's what makes the $2 million that's uncommitted. As far as the restricted side of the house, 19 million was budgeted. 12.9 has already been spent. 2.9 is encumbered, and there's about $3 million that's uncommitted. It means it hasn't been encumbered. Of that 3 million, 1.5 belongs to the foundation. So we cannot even spend those dollars because those are the dollars that we're holding for the foundation. So when we're talking about buffers, really, as we've been working with this district, with the departments and the directors, my department has been working very diligently with each director, making sure that we are aligning the budget and that we are looking very careful at our POs, our open POs, at our balances, to make sure that the discrepancy from what we're presenting right now to when we close is not that, the gap is not that big.
Other questions? Okay, thank you. Do you want to go on?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
So where was I? Okay, so in local revenue, I just wanted to touch that there was an increase in local revenue for $659,000, and that's with the one-time award dollars with our COE for a school engagement and wellness grant that will be utilized for our wellness center. In one-time dollars, the district has received over $200 million, and in fiscal year 25-26, out of those one-time dollars, we are only starting with about $4 million of that. So you can see how the one-time dollars, have been most of it spent down. And when we talk about next steps, we are going to revise our budget in 25-26 after the governor enacts, the budget is enacted. And September, we adopt unaudited actuals and our revised budget. We monitor changes in ADA and our COLA and our revenue assumptions, and adjust expenditures as necessary to make sure we are meeting our 3% reserve and continue to our collaboration across departments. I don't know if there's any further questions.
Any questions? And we have to open public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, we'll be opening a public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed budget. Are there any public comments? We'll leave it open for- Okay. It's 11:36. So there's no public comment on the item, so we'll be moving on to 7.3. Thank you, Daniela. 7.3, we have Karina de la Peña, Beyond the Bell Program presentation.
Good evening, Board President, Ms. Vargas, members of the Board, Superintendent Dr. Esparza, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Karina de la Peña. I'm one of the MTSS Directors of Academics Elementary, and with me are Cindy Bradley, our Coordinator of MTSS Data Coaching, and Lidia Rodriguez, the Coordinator of Migrant Education. The purpose of this presentation is to share with you an overview of the restructuring of the Beyond the Bells program. Through this restructuring, we're going to have new titles and new assignments that will enhance the streamlined support, program alignment, and improvement of operational efficacy across the Beyond the Bell programs. There will be 2 classified positions, 1 coordinator of enrichment coordinator and 1 operations coordinator, as well as 1 certificated position for the ELAB coordinator. The goal is that we continue with enrichment opportunities for all of our students and that we provide equity and access during our Beyond the Bell programs.
So what are Beyond the Bell programs? All of our CVUSD Beyond the Bell programs offer students engaging academic enrichment, meaningful social, emotional development, and support in supportive and positive learning environments. Each of the following programs are state or federally funded to extend the learning opportunities for our students beyond the traditional school day, or as we call it, Beyond the Bell.
Hello, I want to briefly go over these components of our after-school program funding. EXLP, Expanding Learning Program. It is the umbrella term used by many districts to describe all before and after-school intersessions and summer programs. The funding sources often include ACES, 21st Century, Assets, and ELOP funding. The focus of the umbrella here of EXLP is enrichment, academic support, and social-emotional learning beyond the regular school day. Note, this is not a funding stream itself, it's a program structure or department managing multiple funding streams. Now, under the umbrella of EXLP, we have ACES, After-School Educational Safety Programs. Grade level served primarily is K through 9s. The focus is academic assistance, enrichment activities, safe environments during non-school hours. The requirement is, though, with ACES must operate until at least 6 p.m. on school days and provide a minimum number of hours and days. Now, with 21st Century, community learning centers may include also Assets. The grade level served are K-12 with a special focus on students attending low-performing schools. Focus is academic enrichment, family literacy and community involvement, youth development activities. It is 21st Century often serves a wider range of grades and include adult family engagement components. Now with ELOP, Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, grades served focus on TK through 6th grade. The goal is to provide at least 9 hours of combined instructional and expanded learning time per day during the school year and intersession days, summer or non-school days. The targeted group prioritized unduplicated students, English learners, foster youth, and low-income students. Key point is designed to integrate more seamlessly with the school day and is now required for many other districts.
These are some of the roles for the coordinators and some of the responsibilities that the coordinators will be having. The enrichment coordinator will design and oversee the Beyond the Bell programming across the district, collaborate with the community partners and also school leaders, as well as ensuring that the program mirrors the LCAP goals and that they are of high interest for all students. The operations coordinator will manage the operations and logistics, as well as overseeing the compliance, the data, the safety protocols, and the scheduling. The coordinator will also coordinate with staff, the space, and the resources that will be used. The ELOC coordinator will lead the academic plan and the implementation of the Beyond the Bell programming, ensuring that the alignment is with alignment with our district instructional framework, as well as engaging with families and making sure that there is an evaluation of the effectiveness of the program.
The organizational chart shown here shows the coordinator's primary focus and key responsibilities as previously summarized while reporting to our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. Key metrics for success of our team members includes compliance for auditing purposes, timely submission of individual reports, accurate reporting of attendance and staffing, efficient use of funds and budget alignment, and operational consistency for quality program standards.
The three coordinators will collaborate to ensure that our students have access to a successful experience through the Beyond the Bell programs in our district. This collaboration will include a shared vision as well as the goals that are aligned with our LCAP priorities, equity expectations, and the implementation of the instructional framework. This collaboration will also define the success metrics such as attendance, data, engagement, and satisfaction and achievement for our students. There will be an established communication system in which coordinators will check in weekly to discuss the analysis and review of data and documents. They will also focus on ensuring that there is a system to support professional growth for all the Beyond the Bell staff members and to make sure that it aligns with the district's instructional framework. Research indicates that when students have access to both enrichment and academics, we see increase in academics such as 12%, about 12% in math, 10% in reading. We also see about 30% of the students increasing in their attendance, and we also see positive changes in social emotional growth.
Research also shows that through offering these programs, students will have more equitable opportunities, more improved student connectedness, and greater family and community input.
So the Beyond the Bell academics plan will impact all the students in the district that choose to participate in the programs. These include English language learners, long-term English language learners, migrant students, GATE students, students attending ACES or EXLP. The plan will target all academic areas the program will target and support reading, especially in reading foundations, routines, and skills, as well as writing and math. This will be done at all sites, including elementary and secondary. The academic program will also target best first instruction, engaging in hands-on strategies that reflect our instructional framework. This will be done through a certificated staff who will provide the supplemental academic instruction in collaboration with Beyond the Bell staff to provide an engaging and rigorous experience.
Now, we do want to point out CVUSD EXLP enrichment program components have been one of the most successful after-school programs in engaging students to participate and stay after school. Activities such as culinary arts, music, creative art, cheer, dance, and our every popular sports offerings have provided students with meaningful opportunities to explore their interests, develop new skills, and build confidence in a supportive environment. Looking ahead, focusing continues ensuring this success by streamlining and aligning our school day with after-school programming while maintaining the engaging enrichment experience the students, parents, and our community value.
Thank you very much for your time. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Ms. Garcia, Ms. Paz, any questions?
I do have a concern, and I have mentioned it before. I understand the idea of 3 leads. That's what I'm going to call them, the 3 different positions, and the coordination and collaboration. But I think in practice, it's not going to work the way we think. I think everywhere else in the district, we're working to right-size our programming, and one coordinator could do all of that. That I know is a lot, but it is possible. In the past, we've had only one coordinator. I also questioned the bandwidth of the assistant superintendent who would be in charge of overseeing 3 leads, oversee the programming. I understand the idea, but I think in practice it's not going to work, and it doesn't make sense to me fiscally. That's my comment.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn Valerie's comments into a question. How are you prepared to address the potential challenges of having 3 staff members, all with the same role, role, essentially colleagues, right? And anticipate any potential either miscommunication or lack of this or lack of that? Like, I'm just anticipating some of the challenges that Mrs. Garcia mentioned. So how are you prepared to address and make sure that this is successful?
I think one of the points that we have to take into account is that there will be assigned different tasks. Our educational service department is already a pretty large department, and we do meet once a week, and we have a leader that basically goes through an agenda, goes through the concerns that we have per department. But let me go back and talk about the responsibilities of the coordinators. I'm going to start with the ELAB coordinator because that is the coordinator that will be in charge of the instructional piece. Right now, we are really focusing on having an instructional framework that is very strong in academics and very strong in making sure that students are getting the best first instruction throughout the day. So our goal is that this coordinator is also making sure that all of the instructional instruction that the students are exposed to during the day also transfers to the afternoon, so that we continue to utilize the rigorous instructional framework through now corrected rating, for example, 95%, which are some of the programs that we brought up to you and that you thankfully approved. We are very grateful for those programs. So that is the part that the ELAB coordinator is going to be in charge of, because we need that instructional piece to make that program better. The coordinator for enrichment is looking at the design and in the overall enrichment program. What is it going to make this program successful in terms of our connection with the academics? And then collaborating with the community partners as well as with the instructional leaders at the sites. The difference between that person and the operations is that the operations coordinator is really paying attention to the compliance piece, to the data, to the scheduling. So these are, one is looking at the programs and what are we gonna utilize for the enrichment, and one is looking at the data part and the compliance piece that we need to have in order for the programs to be successful. As I mentioned before, the ELAB coordinator is basically focused on the instructional piece.
Maybe quick follow-up question then. To what extent is the success of each of these pieces dependent or interconnected with the other 2?
I think it's a one piece. Like, we have to make sure that there is, that's why we mentioned that there will be weekly check-ins in which they will together analyze data, together review data, together review documents, review deadlines. And in addition to that, we also, as I mentioned before too, we come together as a net services department where we not only share our concerns or share our data, but we also get an opportunity to collaborate with the rest of the departments to try to solve our own problems and to try to have a better implementation or a better plan so that we can service the students better. So I think that the working together and making sure that there is weekly communications and check-ins is going to be crucial for the three pieces to become one puzzle.
And these weekly communications or check-ins are going to be led by the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services?
I believe they will be led by their own department or their own team, but we do meet with the Ed Services Department, and we have our leader, our Assistant Superintendent, now Socorro Sanchez, and she would lead us through the conversations, and she would ask questions, and sometimes we have to present to the team as well. So it is like in our own department too, we have meetings, we come up with ideas, and then we bring them to the Ed Services meeting.
So they will be self-led, self-facilitated between the three before they
would
go
be
to the weekly ones?
They would actually be under Socorro, and I'm sure that if there is a concern or if there is a question or ideas, that she will be attending those too, but I don't know if she wants to add anything.
If I may add, because I hear and I understand the question, right? And I think the piece is that alignment. How are the three coordinators going to be working together? I think it starts with a clear role, right? In the slide that was presented, making sure that the goals are aligned. And then the vision. What is our vision? Our vision is student success. It's through that academic piece intertwined with that enrichment piece. And it's very similar to what we're doing right now in summer school, where we're adding that academic, and then through the rotations is giving them that engagement and kind of like honing them in. We also have the integrated planning and communication, which, yes, it does start within themselves, but it's also led through, we do have weekly cabinet meetings where we come together. We're starting to make that alignment piece within the departments, utilizing their data-driven to make sure that each department, through their lens, are able to support the students as a whole. We're looking at the child as a whole. So it's not just during the day that they're with us, but also the students that are with us in the morning or in the after-school program.
Mr. Tortes, any questions? Okay, Mr. Acuña.
First of all, on the agenda, you say it has no fiscal impact and a budget source. It does have fiscal impact. You're actually adding, by my count, 3 new people. I'm not mistaken. You're adding another coordinator and you're adding 2 support staff into the department. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not the case?
That is correct. There is a fiscal impact, but I would also like to remind the board that we've been carrying over dollars for ELOP. We're set to start fiscal year 25-26, I believe, with about $14 million carryover. So every year, the program receives about $20 million. So those dollars, essentially, it'd be best to spend them in the year that they're received. I know that the grant allows for the monies to be spent within 2 years. But if we're receiving them annually, you know, that's something that I know when I started with the district, there was a big surplus in the program and dollars needed to be spent down. So there will be a fiscal impact, but there is budget in the program to sustain that increase.
But you're giving the impression that there is no fiscal impact, and you need to write exactly how much you're going to spend. And when you say we have $20 million, we do not have $20 million. We've had this conversation before. This board voted to take $6 million away from that program, so you have $14 million.
That's what I stated. We're starting fiscal year 25-26 with about a carryover of $14 million
Right,
in addition to the $20 million.
and I'm assuming, is that to continue, is that a one-time shot? The $6 million that we voted on, it seemed to be an ongoing part of the structural deficit that
And
we're
so
getting.
as we're working with our COE, that is actually going to be less. So we're looking at how we would not have to use all of that because we want to make sure that our expenditures are compliant. So we're looking at possibly half of that or a little bit less.
So again, I still think you got to put the dollar amount of what it's going to cost regardless of because there is a fiscal impact to the program. And again, this part, even though originally the whole demotion thing for the director was part of cost savings, it has nothing to do with our structural deficit because this is paid for 100% by another grant, by these part of these grants. That's number one. Number two, and I did mention this before, and Dr. Esparza mentioned that it was her idea. I think calling it Beyond the Bell is the silliest thing we can do. We branded this program for years through the CVUSD expanded learning program. We've done that purposely to separate ourselves from others. Beyond the Bell is CVU as a LA Unified's program, and everybody likes it's like calling us Pepsi just because everybody calls each other Pepsi. I just think that's a mistake, but I don't have a vote. Apparently, we didn't have a vote. I don't know what the board voted. We didn't have a vote on that, and I just think that's a mistake. The community knows it. It's been branded, and calling it something that somebody else calls it theirs, I don't agree with. But that's again, I don't know if we get a vote on that at all. I guess my other question is, you are correct. All these things that people are doing, they have been done by one person, the director, who's been doing it for a long time before they even got a coordinator. They just barely got a coordinator, as you realize. And as you heard, it's been one of the most successful programs. And for all of those who keep whining about academic, we've had academic in that program before. So now you're going to hire a coordinator to run academic. And the reason I know, because that young woman standing back there did the academic programs for a long time. In fact, she did a writing program for the after-school program that was so successful that the then Director of Elementary Services took her program and made it district-wide. So this narrative out there that we've never done academics and we're not, no, we have done it. They just don't like the way they do it now. Again, I've said that this is a restructuring, and I'm not opposed to restructuring, but this is a restructuring that doesn't make any sense. To your point, there's no boss, and I hate to say it that way, but there's no person in charge. And all three of them have the exact amount of power, so to speak, or authority, and who's going to get to decide. I'm wondering who designed this and that thing. It seems like someone who designed it has never run the actual programs and the day-to-day operations of how these things work. I actually have been in that program, so I have a little bit of an idea how it works. It is not going to work. Having three people there, they all are going to work on time cards. They're all going to work at the sites. There's not going to be one person that sits in the office all day and just does paperwork. That's not how that program works. And again, I'm looking at what the academic person is going to do. They're going to do an academic plan, and then what? It doesn't seem like they're going to do anything else. Why don't you just hire a teacher, either part-time or an after-school program, and have them run the academic? It would have been a lot cheaper, wouldn't have caused as much fuss. Again, it's designed in my mind to effectively do something, right? And you just heard it. We only need one coordinator, but we're going to keep the coordinator for the academic one. So we're going to get rid of one of the other coordinators, which has been part, in my mind anyway, my opinion, part of why this has all been going through. So again, there's just a lot of things I see that are not going to work. The academic part, I'm fine. But as we talked about in summer school, they did this thing that we're going to target all these kids, and all these kids, we're going to get all these kids. This is a voluntary program. And if you turn it into the regular school day, kids aren't going to come. That's just a fact. And the reality is kids come for sports, they come for enrichment, they come for all that stuff, and at the same time, we kind of sneak in academics to help them out as well. That's how these programs retain their kids. And again, I just see this as a disaster in the making. You're going to have coordinators disagreeing with each other. And again, unfortunately, the assistant soup over there is going to have to be referee. And she has more programs than one program to be dealing with all that. So I just think the way this whole thing was set up obviously looks like it was done in a way that doesn't account for what actually happens in the program, right? I mean, and again, we have people who have been in the program who are teachers who understand that. The site coordinators, now the site coordinators are doing time cards for the lunch people, all the safety people. That's not their job. But because those departments don't want to do it for their own people, they keep piling it on top. Socorro, you went to you went to one of their site coordinator meetings. What was their biggest complaint? That they keep piling this stuff on and on them because other people don't want to do it. We're talking about summer school. Did they not complain that many principals were not supporting summer school? We're not helping them? We're not letting them move forward? Some were. I'm surprised we got the numbers that we have. Those things all incorporate into this, and this doesn't solve any of those problems. And so again, what I see is you're going to have people saying, well, I decided this, and they're going to say, well, I decided that. Well, I'm not going to do enrichment because I want to do all this academic. You're not going to have any enrichment. Well, sports is going to have to, not today. Okay? And again, then you're going to start losing kids. So it just seems like you solved the problem that wasn't there in my mind. You could have fixed it in other ways. Again, if you needed to have someone that was an academic, a credentialed teacher for that was basically you needed a credentialed person to kind of do that. I hope the coordinator you bring actually has some experience in after school and is just not someone who knows how to teach. That's great that they know how to teach, but they have to know how to teach in after school. It is very different than teaching in the regular school day. And so, again, I just see this coming apart at the seams within the first year. And then we're going to be right back here, and everybody's going to start pointing fingers at the person they didn't like, and that's where we're going to end up. And then, unfortunately, Sanchez, you're going to be there refereeing all the time, because, again, this is a very complex and complicated program because it's across the board with different things. One of my concerns during the budget was that we're moving this money to pay for this. Well, ACES has a match, and we have to pay that match. And once you start doing this, then that match doesn't count. So there's all these different program components to this. And while I know a lot of it, I'm not even the expert on that. There's very few people who are the experts. So my concern is we have one of the best programs in the state of California. We're going to ruin it because we just decided that we're going to do it a different way to make it look good. I just don't buy it. I'm not going to be supporting it. The changes, you guys already knew that. But those are some of the reasons why. And again, the name, I'm sorry, I just, with all due respect, Dr. Sparza, I know you're the one that came up with that name. I don't want to be LA Unified. I don't want to be somebody else's program. I want to be our program. If you want to call it CVUSD something or other, I'm okay maybe with that. But we built a brand that's ours, our brand, and has kind of been kept here. And when you say expanded learning from CVUSD, everybody knows what it is across the state. So those are my concerns, not so much questions, but just concerns. And I just don't think it's going to work the way it's currently set up here. But
I just want to add a few things. So I hear the comments from my colleague here. And somehow I am optimistic that somehow this could work because I'm liking the streamlining, right? And it goes along to what the comments from the principals were saying with the framework, the academic framework that's been introduced. We need to continue that. And I think that's the most powerful thing about integrating this. The logistics, well, I'll leave it to you all to figure out, but I do like that part. And as a former teacher, maybe I'm old school, but I don't think our kids decide whether they show up or not show up. It's the parents, and the parents in this district want to see the academic improvement. They want to see it. They don't want to send their kids just to have fun. Yeah, that's important. That's an incentive, but just shifting a little bit of the narrative that our parents want our kids. And you hear it in the LCAP meetings. They'll say, well, there's no improvement. What are you doing? There's no improvement. What are you doing? And the parents get mad at seeing that we keep in the reds or we keep in the oranges. So I think it's the idea that it's the right idea to strengthen the academic piece. We're not getting rid of the enrichment. We're blending them, and somehow this is all going to work. I mean, I'm optimistic only because that's the way that I see it.
But just to that point, it almost sounds like you're trying to salve an academic program by doing it in the after-school. If parents want improvements, they're not telling me that they want it in the after-school, they want it during the day. And I think we're starting to make those gains, we're starting to make those improvements. So again, we do have intervention programs, we do have the Saturday schools, we have the other things that are doing, but those numbers are always low. Why? Because kids don't come, and I'm sorry, parents may want them there, but if kids are whining and complaining that they don't want to be there because they don't want to be there, eventually the parents are going to give in.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that logic, but ELOP has an academic component. So no, we're not trying to sell an enrichment or an academic. It's like, it is our duty to meet that academic component of ELOP. The monies are there because we want to see the added, I mean, people who have resources pay for tutoring, right? People who have resources send their kids to do the extra. Our communities do not have the resources, so those need to be provided, and I think that's part of the essence of the LOP. It's not all enrichment, but I'll just end there.
Well, and again, I understand that, but again, the narrative out there that we've never had academic in the after-school program is not true. We've had it. It's been successful. They do it in different ways. They do it in disguised learning, and it's been successful. In previous summer schools back in the day, and not going too far back, but it was all integrated. You didn't have a math thing, and then you went out and played. It was all integrated. So those kids were learning math, whether they liked it or not, and it was successful, and there was data that showed that's how it happened. And again, I'm going back to the point. You don't need another coordinator to set up the academic strength. You can hire someone to do that underneath one of these coordinators. If this is where we're going, you can simply hire that, and that's even going to be cheaper, and you have a credentialed person like we had in the past. That's how we've done it in the past. And if you want to streamline it or make it with the day, that's all fine. And we've done that in the past. Again, it's just they made this thing. In my mind, it's not going to. I mean, I don't feel it's going to work. I hope your optimism wins out, but I just can see the problems already starting. And again, they're going to want to do this. No, I got to spend it on this. And who's going to have the final say of where the money goes? Is the ELOP coordinator going to control all the money? They get to decide. Is that how it's working? That they're going to decide where the money goes? Because ELOP does pay for some of these other programs, right? And the staff. So going back to your point, who's going to decide? If ELOP coordinator says, well, we're not spending money on that because I want to spend it on this, and the other person says, no, we got to have it for this. You're going to have, and again, I don't know how else to say it, you need a boss.
Well, sure, and it sounds like, sorry, Jocelyn, that we are going to have a program that's going to be very protective of their enrichment because that's what they know students like. But I also know that we have site coordinators that have been here 15, 20 plus years, know what students like, and I think a balance is possible. We've heard
many of them are teachers.
Exactly. So
again,
from
they're
within,
the best person to align.
from within, absolutely. I do see that as being a possibility. I still think we need to figure out one coordinator because this doesn't make sense to me logistically, but I do believe that from within, people who are wanting to safeguard, they know that enrichment's possible, is what students want, but can still sneak in that education portion. We can't hear all that we have about our test scores and our graduation levels and not lean into academic a bit more, but understanding that we have people who are already here to tap into, right? I still think that this doesn't, I mean, you've heard from 3 of us already that are saying we're not buying the 3 coordinators as being a viable, truly viable program plan. What to do with this? I mean,
yeah, we can comment and move on. So
In regards to the Beyond the Bell coordinator, yes, it being a certificated person, somebody that has the knowledge of, in regards to instruction, but also has the knowledge of budget, because the ELOP piece has come back to us. Debbie Deal presented so many times to the board in regards to the concerns around the ELOP budget. And so making sure that that person is going to be responsible for the ELOP budget and work collaboratively. As you can see, the slide that's on there now, EXLP is not over these. And so we didn't want to say it was ELOP. So Beyond the Bell is what LA Unified calls it, as well as several other districts. And at the state level, they also call it that because it is Beyond the Bell. It's after school, it's Saturday sometimes with some programs, not with the LOP yet, but it's also summer school, it's ESY. And so Beyond the Bell means beyond the bell of the time when students are in their regular school days. So that was the only way to be able to capture it, because right now we're only naming it after one program. And so I know that we have an outstanding program. So I just wanted to make it clear that it's not just after school and that it's, the whole year. And so there's plenty of work for that ELOP coordinator to be able to work their 8 hours plus, especially if they're managing the budget piece, and making sure that, they're working collaboratively. Now, I have been the assistant superintendent where I've had to work with the EXLP, ELOP director and staff from her department. And so I do know that Socorro has been under or over Ed Services for a few months now. 7 months, almost 8 months. And so working collaboratively to make sure that the director and the coordinator are also in sync with the work that they're doing. And so they do, like Karina tried to explain, they do go to those weekly meetings, and there are meetings between them, conversations between them. And so that communication still needs to get better between the people who are supporting the after-school programs, the EXLP or ELOP. There needs to be a better connection. It's actually worked separately from, again, the academic piece to it all. And so this is the reason why it was created this way. We can always take it back and bring it back to the board at the next board meeting so that it's more based on the recommendations or the comments, more aligned to have less staff monitoring or overseeing the program.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of comments that were made, a lot of questions, suggestions, criticisms. So if staff can please take that and, work on those things and to address them. And then board members, if you do have questions, if we could please, or more comments or additional thoughts, to please send them to Dr. Esparza so that we can address those prior to the meeting. So we'll be moving on to action items, administrative services. Thank you. Action item 8.1, Dr. Esparza, approve the agreements with CSBA Gamut Meetings 2025-2026, an online agenda platform. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second? A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry, I meant to, any questions or comments, discussion? No, okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 8.2, Dr. Esparza, adopt board resolution number 2025-62 to remunerate Trustee Thomas Tortes. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We have
Abstain.
one abstention, Mr. Tortes. Action 9, action educational services, 9.1, Socorro Sanchez requesting approval of purchase with Indoff Inc. for furniture to support community schools program. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Do we have any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Business services, 10.1. We have Daniela Tavares adopt board resolution number 2025-61 regarding the education protection account EPA spending determinations for fiscal year 2025-26. Do you have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.2, Daniela Tavares, recommendation to approve award of RFP number 111-2025, Bimbo Bakeries and Galosso's Fresh Bread and Bakery Products for school year 2025-26. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.3, Daniela Tavares, recommendation to approve award of RFP number 113-2025, Farm to School Program, Assis Farms, and the Fruit Guys for school year 2025-26. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And abstentions? Motion carries. Item 10.4, Daniela Tavares, recommendation to approve award RFP 112-2025, processed and frozen food products from Gold Star Cisco, Newport Farms, and KB Foods for school year 2025. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.5, Daniela Tavares, authorization to increase open purchase orders to cover the remainder of the fiscal year 24-25. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second? I'll second. Questions, comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.6, Daniela Tavares, approval to increase the purchase order for charter buses. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
I'll second.
Do you have questions, comments? Trustee Acuna?
Is this money to cover what we already owe people from before, or is this brand new for moving forward?
So it's to cover invoices that have already been incurred and also to pay for trips that have been scheduled up to June 30th.
But it's to pay all the stuff that we owe from before?
Yes, that's correct.
Other questions?
No, it's for outstanding invoices, to cover outstanding invoices.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.7, Daniela Tavares, approval of resolution 2025-48, adopt informal bidding procedures pursuant to the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Account Act. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second? I'll second. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 10.8, Daniela Tavares, approval of resolution 2025-49, adopt Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act and procedures. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Action items, human resources. 11.1, Dr. Makowitz, approval of job description regarding transportation department's restructuring. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Garcia, second by Trustee Bus. Any questions, comments? Yes.
So we have not, the CSEA positions that are there, the classified positions, we have not negotiated those yet, correct?
No, we have not. The management positions don't have to be negotiated.
So I asked for the question. And then I guess my other comment is we can rearrange the chairs all we want in transportation until we get a good leader in there and start holding everyone, all areas accountable. what was it, this last week or the second week before school ended, we only had 4 days of school, and 3 of those days we got a notice of transportation was late. All right, and again, there could be a lot of reasons for that. Parents don't care. When they call and complain, they don't care. And we have to do a better job in all of that whole area, that whole department. And again, I mean, again, moving the chairs around on the deck, it's all great, and hopefully it'll work in some ways, but until we get a strong leader in there, and then the district office that supports them as they hold people accountable, that's the only way we're gonna do it.
Other questions, comments? Okay. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We are at 11.2, Dr. Makowitz, approval of second and final reading for policy revision for BP 5127, graduation ceremonies and activities. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 11.3, Dr. Makowitz, approval of second and final reading for update for BP 6146.1, high school graduation requirements. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second? I'll second. Questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 11.4, Dr. Makowitz, approval of revised job description for coordinator of LinkedIn Learning and Career Technical Education to coordinator of Career Technical Education. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do I have a second? I'll second. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 11.5, Dr. Makowitz, approval of the declaration of need for qualified educators for the 2025-26 school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 11.6, Dr. Makowitz, approval of employment contract regarding Socorro Sanchez for Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. I'm supposed to read out the contract information. So the contract title is an agreement for employment of Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services between Coachella Valley Unified School District and Socorro Sanchez. The term of the agreement, the district hereby employs Assistant Superintendent. An Assistant Superintendent agrees to be employed by the Coachella Valley Unified School District as the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services for a term of 3 years, commencing July 1st, 2025, and ending June 30th, 2028, subject to the terms and conditions set forth herein. This agreement supersedes any prior employment agreement. Salary terms, Assistant Superintendent salary shall be $230,000 per year for 12 full months of service, payable in 12 equal monthly payments and prorated for any service of less than 1 full year. Workdays, Assistant Superintendent shall be required to render 247 days of service to the district during each annual period covered by this agreement or a portion thereof. Assistant Superintendent shall follow all district rules and regulations when she will be absent from the district. I believe that's all I have to read out. Do I have a motion to approve the contract?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers a motion unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar, in which event the item will be considered separately. the superintendent, assistant superintendent of educational services, assistant superintendent of business and finance, and assistant superintendent of human resources recommend the approval of all consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any items that need to be pulled?
In lieu of holding mine, I just wanted to make
Okay. Yeah.
So I would ask Dr. Sparza and our cabinet to remind directors, principals, that until the board approves these things, that no one has the authority to go ahead and provide those services. And this isn't about the people who provide the services, because they're doing the services in good faith, but they told them to do it, and I know they need to be paid. But this is the accountability of those in charge, that if you do not have approval from the board yet, if they pull it or whatever reason it doesn't get there, you do not have the authority to go ahead and tell people to go ahead and do it. And then pretend that, oh, we already did it when we already know the function that they did the extra services for is already over. So I would just ask that you remind all our leadership about that particular condition of passing it first and then providing the services.
Any other comments? Oh, no.
I'd like to pull for discussion 14.4 and 14.12.
14.4?
14.5 and 14.12.
Okay, I'm sorry. 14.5 and 14.12? 14.12. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Any other items to pull? Okay, so we have a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda with exception of the items Ms. Garcia pulled. Do I have a motion to approve? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 14.5. Do I have okay, 14.5, Socorro Sanchez requesting approval, oh wait, I'm sorry. Requesting approval for independent contractor services agreement increase for Miriam Juarez Dominguez for expanded learning program. Do I have a motion? I'm sorry?
I don't understand. As it stands right now, this person's getting 65,000 for the year, which seems like it is already more than the usual. So then the 15,000 more just doesn't make sense to me.
Do we need a motion, like, to approve it? Or to have
You
the
just
discussion,
asked
or we
me,
just
he
have the
asked me
discussion?
why.
Why he pulled it.
Oh, okay.
Why she pulled it before we
I thought we
decide
had
what
to.
motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, can staff provide clarification?
So this is one of the coordinator from CVU Elementary. And the reason it's the additional of the hours that are needed, especially to cover the summer school program that they're having over there at CVU. From my understanding, they just didn't account for the hours that were needed from the beginning of the year till the end.
And so we
of the
need to work
summer.
on that because
Yes.
Seaview and West Shores, when it comes down to the amounts, it's because of the travel also for certain events that take place on the weekends and the field trips and stuff like that. So they're on several hours more than other staff members.
To clarify though, this has already been amended, so this is like the second time, right? So it was approved for 50,000, January 23rd of 2025. Then it was an additional increase of 15,000 on top of that, and now it's it's almost like 30,750 that we're adding or increasing. Am I reading that correctly? Mm-hmm. And you're saying this is usual and necessary and in alignment, I mean, yeah, just.
Feels like a lot. Be above and beyond what I saw as the norm within the extra services. I saw that some were amended for summer school. and I did see that, but this goes even beyond that, so I just wanted it to make sense, like, what are we doing? Just feels like a lot, and truly right at the end of the year.
So it was just not, number of hours were not allotted from the beginning. So like Dr. Esparza mentioned, it is something that we do need to make sure that we get better at, especially for the schools that are all the way on the east. These two schools, specifically this one also with CVU, they do have events during the weekend and in the evening, especially as they're trying to coordinate with West Shores in the community schools pieces. And just the need in the community. So this is one of the areas where I'll be working with the program just to make sure that upfront, right, we get it upfront as far as the hours for the whole year.
Are there other questions? Oh.
I mean, I'm just thinking it's kind of hard because this is a contracted person that is working our after-school programs that is earning, I mean, it's going to be after this amendment, like almost like a teacher, right? I do read here that there was some circumstances that required a side lead to reduce their hours. Is that the equivalent of the 15,000? I mean, did we save from that person not completing hours, and then this is, I don't know, like, does it balance out?
So she also works the Sunrise program now.
Oh.
That was a change. We probably should have put that in there.
Do we have other questions? I mean, I think for me, I mean, I hear the questions, right? I mean, I think it's also, you know, West Shore is looking at it from an equitable perspective. I feel like we're also kind of don't have always have the resources in other areas. So, I mean, I'm also thinking about how this, you know, the services through this is kind of meeting some of those gaps. So I'm also kind of thinking about it in that way. Do we have other questions? A motion?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second? I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
And
I'm gonna do a hard aye. I hear the equity thing, just concerning. The amount is concerning to me, so we need to address that.
wait, sir, you're.
So a hard yes, I approve.
Okay. Yes. Oh, so it's
that this
1,
passes,
2,
'cause
3,
we need the four votes,
It's
right?
4.
So,
Okay, so
yeah.
4-1. And no abstentions. Okay, so the motion passes 4-1. Okay, thank you. We should do roll call too.
Yeah.
Here till 2. Last item, 14.12. Socorro Sanchez requesting approval of contract renewal with GDS Consulting Inc. Services. Ms. Garcia.
Yes, so I heard from all of the staff that enjoyed the program. My understanding is that all of our leadership, the principals, all know this program now. They can be the trainer of trainers and train staff without us having to renew this. I've heard all the good things. I'm glad, but I don't think we need a renewal. I think our principals can now run with what they've learned and support their staff themselves. It's a very big price tag. I understand it's an LCAP, but there are other things that we can do with this money. We just heard from Daniela that contracts would be the place to cut. That's my place where I feel more comfortable cutting than programming now. So those are my comments.
Other comments?
A question, based on Ms. Garcia's comments, is if you can remind us, maybe you already told us when you first brought in Mr. Soto, but the longevity, like what's the plan? Was this a 1 year, 2 year? I mean, every plan I think has a structure and a timeline to ensure that it's successful, to ensure that there is sort of adherence to it, because if we leave too soon, then we might not do it. So just curious.
Right, and so we started with between a 2 and a 3 year plan, and so we're hoping by the 2 years that some of our principals, I know Karina de la Peña just recently got certified, and that certification also takes mentorship as well. I know some principals want to also get certified so that they're able to be trainers of trainers, because they're not able to do this training yet. And so it's also, aside from the leadership, it's also with our coaches. And so our coaches are also being trained as well. And so this is a 2 year, I would say, because we've been so successful this year. And going into next year, we have some leadership changes that are going to take place. We have some new principals that are going to be coming on. And so that's going to require for that to happen, that training to happen, as well as coaches, because of the rifts and because of the things that we've been experiencing. Some of the teachers may take on a position of coaching. And so those are also training opportunities that we need to provide them. So I do foresee this as being the last year for us to do this.
I appreciate, I mean, all the comments that people have been giving. And again, one of the criticisms that we get is that we introduce something and then let it go, introduce something else. So I don't, if this is working, I don't want it to be the case where we've just introduced it and then, you know, we're letting it go and who knows. So I'm going to, I'm going to approve this item. And one request is maybe that just sort of like the fidelity and the intentionality that you've put in making sure that this works, because I've heard a lot of things. I mean, it's really teachers who are the coaches, so they understand it, they get it. I want to see something like this for restorative justice, because that's going to be the only way that we implement it. And I mean, we've said this in past meetings, this board has made the commitments, we've put the money allocations ahead of time in the various LCAPs, and we just haven't gotten this level of attention or just intentionality in building something that is going to stay and be successful and transformative.
Other questions, comments? In terms of the contract, last year's contract was, last year's contract was higher? Yes. Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes for 1 no and no abstentions. Okay, German, 17.1 closed session. We don't have any more closed session. 17.2 motion to adjourn. Have a motion? Aye. I'll motion. Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No? And no abstentions. All right, thank you, everybody.